So, where we left off, after Pogo's life-changing experience and rescuing Sarah's father, Theodore, you were all recuperating at the Crow Fort. Arteme went to study at the library in the main keep when she heard some disturbance from the commander's war room. She sent Sai to investigate, and she found this alien-looking creature that resembled the descriptions of the melted people that are commonly rumored over in tavern rooms all over the Empire. The creature disappeared, but seconds later, Arteme was approached by Lieutenant Clover, who was acting very strange and abnormal. Arteme saw through the disguise, but not before the creature melted into the alien shape that she had seen and then stabbed her in the stomach. After a short battle, the creature tried to flee, but was caught again upstairs in the infirmary, where Pogo killed it with the ancient, almost mythical, magical source known as Corvalane. Commander Pepperjack is disheveled and sleepless and distraught. He's still, obviously, you guys still don't have a real status on the location or whereabouts, or the location rather, or health of Lieutenant Clover, since she is still missing. You then all had a conversation with Ozzy about your next steps, who has agreed to send you to the Wuad Plains so that you may make your way back to Norik's homelands in Whitehaller. So, with that, let me go ahead and move us over. Here we are. Oh, interesting. Okay, so on my side, I kept having this bug, and I haven't figured out what was causing it yet. But I thought it was only happening on the DM side, but it looks like it's happening elsewhere too. Do you guys just have a white screen?
Yeah. No,
No.
I see the corner has like the snow and stuff, and the rest is
no other map. Yeah.
Try refreshing real quick. Okay, because I thought that was only happening on the DM side, and I don't know what I broke to do that. It might have just been one of the updates to something. So go ahead and refresh real quick, because every time I refresh, it comes back just fine. But that's one of the things that I was talking about that's broken, that I haven't fixed yet. So if you just refresh, you should get the
this
page.
app has too much cool shit. When we go back to in-game, I'm going to have to get like a fog machine and like a sprinkler system set up.
For real, though, you might as well. So you don't need a sprinkler system.
It's raining, guys! What are you doing? It came back normal for me, by the way, after the refresh.
Yeah. If you refresh, it should come back to normal. At least it has for me. But I'll figure out what the problem is when I get around to it.
Okay.
Anyways, Ben, is it still reloading for you, Sako? Both of you?
It hasn't come up yet.
Okay. Sako, same for you? Is it still... Okay, I see Sako back. Okay. Well, hopefully... I mean, there's a bunch of places you guys are presumably going to be going to see, so changing scenes might be difficult.
So,
we'll see how that happens here.
It's back.
So, yeah. Okay.
All right, so what were you going to say, Justin?
Oh, no.
All right. Then for the Sunday, basically, so it was Saturday. Was Stars Day rather. Was the day that all of that happened, and you aren't leaving until Moon Day, which is 2 days from then. So for the Sunday, anyways, Arteme and Sarah gave me what they were doing. So I'll go over with the rest of you guys here in a minute too. Arteme, while you were distilling those batches of Stridos, you kept checking on your tanning project in the tower. Despite the persistent icy breeze, the fire that you and Abraham have kept going day and night has managed to dry the leathers pretty thoroughly. It's going to take another day, and then they'll be pliable and sturdy enough to actually work them into whatever you want to build from them.
Okay, I think I was making... Well, I have a note somewhere about it. I was making, I think, a bigger backpack or something, and a water skin for Norik or something.
Okay.
And a tent or something like that.
Nazim didn't have a tent, so that might have been it. That's when you started that process.
Right, Nazim's tent, yeah.
I had to sleep in the small tent that one time.
With your feet sticking out, yeah. In the halfling-sized tent. Anyways, another day, though, and they should be pliable enough to actually, build whatever you want to from them. So, as far as the rolls that you made, you managed to brew and then distill enough Stridos for 4 vials that are equivalent to 4 greater healing potions. I put those in your inventory for you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I moved some stuff from my inventory, so hopefully I'm no longer too much overweight.
You should see the bar at the bottom on your character sheet. And that bar under the inventory tab, you're at 188 out of 210 now.
Oh my
so
gosh.
You put away 5 pounds of stuff.
Jeez. Okay, this is Yeah, because a lot of the stuff I have, I'm wearing it, or it's like useful.
I mean, it still counts. Like you have the hunting trap, which is 25 pounds. You haven't used that. Not that it isn't useful, but you haven't used it at least. But what is that? Okay,
I forgot.
Go ahead.
I forgot real quick. Are we trying to get our weight under the third bar?
Under the second section. So like the first
so we can only have the
sections,
first two sections.
Okay. Pretty much. Anything after that, you're going to start having penalties for at least. Yeah.
Cool. All the stuff in the bag of holding. I guess that's a lot of weight too, because the bag of holding is like 15 pounds.
But the bag of holding,
pounds.
the bag is 15 pounds. It doesn't count the stuff inside of it. The stuff inside of it doesn't have any extra weight. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Guess I'm just gonna have to strip out all my clothes. Don't get any clothes in my armor, I suppose.
Well, I mean that stuff. As long as Artemis is nearby, you could probably put in the bag as long as there's room enough in there too. But you have. I'm trying to look through your stuff, Fox. You don't have a ton in here. The incense and charcoal. You have 5 of those, 15 pounds each.
Oh, okay. I guess I should move those.
Put those in the bag of holding. Yeah. I mean, even if you're just carrying one, that's a lot of kind of wasted weight that would bring you quite a bit lower.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to move them to the bag of holding. Can I just drag and drop?
Yeah, you should be able to just drag them on there. Just make sure that you watch what the quantities are and then fix them as needed. Because when you drag it over, I think it will just copy. I don't think it'll actually,
Because when I put in the lockbox, the stuff in lockbox worked fine.
Okay, if it does, that's fine. Just keep an eye on the numbers to make sure that they reflect
before
correctly.
I delete. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you mind if I added my thieves' tools into the bag of holding, Fox?
Go ahead. You should be able to drag and drop. Everybody has access to it.
Yeah.
All right, and then I'll delete that for mine because it just copies it, right?
Well, I mean, make sure. So just check that that it shows the correct inventory quantities for both of them when you're done. I wouldn't trust it until you confirm it, just in case. So.
Yeah, we're good there.
So that's what Artemis was doing. You guys can go ahead and keep working on those. Nazim, what would you be doing for the kind of free day that you guys are waiting while everybody's kind of recuperating, and then before teleporting out the next day?
Actually, I'd like to kind of take a look deeper into the Neralium dust. Neralium,
okay.
That's how you pronounce it?
Yep. Yeah, Neralium, yeah.
Neralium, and just kind of learn a little bit more about the Neralium dust that I picked up.
Okay. Give me an Arcana. Probably Arcana check.
Arcana.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, a natural one.
Wait. Are you within 30 feet of me?
I think it still thinks we're playing here.
Are we hanging out in the same room?
Really.
Are we taking a bath with each other? What's going on?
Exactly. No, Sako is taking over for Fox for the worst possible roles, and apparently it has followed him back to D&D as well.
Dude, that last game was absolutely insane.
The last game in Hero Quest where he was was like one after one after one after one.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. All right. Looking at it, you can tell that this is not from. This isn't. What's the word I'm looking for? Native to It's not native to this planet. It clearly comes from somewhere else. And that's about as much as you can tell. The crystalline structure of it, the what's left in the chunks of that you can find, it's still mixed in with this dust. It doesn't look natural at all. It doesn't look well. It looks natural, just not from this planet. Is all.
It's foreign, pretty much.
Yeah, real foreign. Like about as foreign as super foreign. Super foreign. Anything else with your Sunday?
Actually, strange, weird thing. Since I'm good on food, since I'm good on water and rest and everything, any way that I can just kind of either learn or begin to learn how to do quilting.
I would say that they're
to go with your old woman disguise.
I hope I haven't guessed where it is this is going, considering what's at the bottom of your
Human
bag.
skin is my guess.
Which, by the way, let me point something out. So Sako, I don't mean this to have any impingement on your personal beliefs, but the word Jutherin is spelled like this. It's not the way you have it spelled.
It's not J-E-W? Are you sure it's not J-E-W?
Yes. Yeah, the way you have it spelled in your inventory.
Them Jutherins.
Where I come from, that's how it's spelled, I guess.
Yeah, it's a dialect thing.
Yeah.
It's a dialect thing.
In Vabby, yeah, exactly.
The W is silent.
But anyways, I knew you didn't
Yeah, it's a long, hard W, though. It's not great.
But as far as resources at the Crow Fort, there isn't a lot of quilting to be had, although the quartermistress, who you had not had chance to meet previously, is a woman by the name of Rook. And, well, her kind of nickname anyways, let's say, is Rook. Do I have her in here? I should.
Does anyone have any poison, by the way?
No. Oh, how is the little plants I did, because he wanted poisonous mushrooms?
You haven't checked on them in a bit. Abraham has been kind of keeping an eye on them.
I'm going to go check on those since they were brought to my attention.
Give me a nature check.
Oh, that didn't... Hang on.
No, I did. I see it. Oh. I've got it on the side. Yeah.
It lagged out, so it didn't show me the roll.
Okay. Yeah, it did come in on this side. You know what? No, because that was still the same add-on. I didn't make a bunch of add-on changes, so I'm trying to figure out what was causing that load problem. But I made one change to the dice, but that's the same add-on. I just added an extra feature. But maybe I'll turn that off and see if that fixes it. Anyway, as far as the mushrooms, though, they are still growing. They seem a little bit dehydrated, not much, but as fungus goes, they don't need a lot, and it doesn't seem like they've been getting the correct amount of water. Abraham is clearly doing his best. He's still trying to keep up with the needs of it, but he's no botanist.
I'll just water them then. And,
okay. There's enough to be able to harvest some though if you wanted to.
Okay, I'll harvest a few, and then I'm also gonna try and set up something to where Abraham doesn't have to babysit it as much. To
like
where
a
drip feeder.
Okay, that's easily stuff you'd have time to do within this Sunday, so that's fine. But yeah, you're able to harvest enough for. These are the mushrooms, by the way, that were less a certain kind of poison, let's say, but they were the hallucinogenic mushrooms, right?
Yeah, and a few poisonous ones that would actually kill you.
Okay. As far as poisons, there's probably only about 1 dose worth, and as far as the number of mushrooms you can harvest, and about 2 of the hallucinogenic, psilocybin type mushrooms.
Okay.
Which are the ones that Pogo had asked for originally. So.
Nice.
But as for resources, Nazim, I was looking for Rook's thing, but I don't think I copied her over to Foundry. It's actually been quite a while since the rest of the party has run into her, but she. Very attractive young woman, probably far too young to actually be in this place. She's what sort of not of the military type, let's say. It seems like she was probably brought into the service of the Crowblinders in some other means, because she definitely does not look like she went through basic training or anything of the sort. But anyway, she seems perfectly amenable. What's that?
Civ, just a non-military person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's the quartermistress apparently, so she somehow worked her way up through these ranks. The rest of the party might have been before Pogo came in. I don't remember. Ben and Becky and Fox, you guys remember Rook?
Yes.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm not going to start calling you Giuseppe just because you want to. I'm not going to change Pogo's. Well, to be fair though. Pogo's not even his name anyway, so I suppose it doesn't really matter.
This is definitely more of a temporary thing.
What the heck?
Well, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything from Justin, although he mentioned this last.
This is just how Pogo does. He depending on where he's at, if he kind of changes his appearance and stuff, and at least until stuff dies down.
He seems to change his name a lot. He just likes to try and hide and run from everything instead of dealing with it.
You definitely were there when Bert arrived and called him by a different name, which was Mercutio, and now he has chosen a new identity. Yeah, although he technically hasn't done that yet, or at least you guys haven't seen him since he's changed his. So we'll come back to that. But anyway, says Nazim, as far as Rook is not a great seamstress, but seems to be semi-capable, although she lacks much time. She's only able to spend about a half an hour with you, kind of going over some basics.
Wait, wouldn't making tents and stuff be similar to quilts?
You know what? So actually, that's fair. Because
I would be able to help him if he needs it.
Yeah, technically that would be more leather working anyway, Sako, not really quilting. It's less about textiles than it is about skin. But anyways,
Because quilt is more like blankets and sewing them together, etc., etc. Sometimes you'll put like little pockets and stuff inside the quilt, but
That's a great idea.
Oh my!
He's gonna quilt himself a fanny pack from an actual fanny.
Are we talking the British version or the? Never mind.
Not the British version. Yeah, that'd be more like a wallet.
Yeah, that'd be a change. What's a coin purse? There you go.
Yeah, coin purse.
All right.
Talking about the American coin purse. Or... This is a coin purse made from a coin purse. Gross.
All right. So anyways, Nazim, you're able to kind of get a couple of minor pointers, but you do feel like that the time that Rook has to be able to kind of spend with you is not going to be enough unless you come back numerous times. But while doing this, you realize, this is the exactly kind of the kinds of steps that Arteme was talking about doing before. So maybe she would have more time and what's the word I'm looking for? Initiative, I guess, to help you learn.
Gotcha.
All right. How about Norok? What are you doing for your Sunday?
I gotta make sure that I have oboe and anything else that I need for his burial.
With certain reverence, you do kind of very carefully, open your bag. Every time you open your bag, you're kind of given this constant reminder of the flensed bones that are still in there. They're clean, it's not bloody or anything like that, but it is still, literally the remains of your tribal shaman still in your bag. Just the skull and the femurs really are the longest part of it, which kind of go almost shoulder to hip for you for. Inside of your backpack, but basically the good portion of your backpack is held by just these bones. But you do kind of carefully take it all out. You don't assemble it, but kind of make sure that he's all there, and make sure that your bag is in decent enough shape that it'll make the trip and that you'll be able to get in there safely.
Cool.
Anything else for your Sunday?
No, I don't think so.
All right, then Pogo, what are you doing with yours?
So do we have 2 days or 1 day?
One. So basically it was
1 day.
Kind of a day and a half, really. It was basically like midday through Saturday, and then you have all of Sunday. Perfect. You guys will be teleported out on Monday.
Pogo's going to do a few things. He is going to first use his disguise kit, and he's going to see if he can find a person in the camp that has gray hair and pay them a gold to basically get their hair, including their beard if they have it. So he can fashion himself a more permanent wig and mustache. And he's also going to use the disguise kit to make him look like an older man with a curly mustache. And then he's also going to see if he can buy a small amount of poison to go with the bolts with his crossbow.
Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning there.
Sure.
Just so happens when you are stepping out of the Kettle Keep, off to your left, which is to the south a little ways, on the snowy hill, is a box of munitions that's still been sitting there the last time you were here. It's been sitting there for the last 2 weeks now that you know of, at least. And never is it found without a guard. There's almost always a crowblinder that is stationed there, sitting right beside the box. I think you tried to steal out of it before?
I tried to see Strings was guarding it. I tried to see if I could what was going on, but
It just so happens that Strings, standing there, clearly very bored, kind of whistling quietly to himself. You see him kind of reach behind his back, and he plucks these broken strings that are on the loot that is over his back occasionally. Looks very bored as you step out. Doesn't appear to have noticed you. He does happen to have, though, somewhat long salt and pepper mustaches and beard, and kind of not dirty, but certainly not as coiffed as you might have liked hair.
Hey, Strings! Over here!
Hey! Good to see you're up and about. I heard you had some trouble.
Yeah, we made a bit of a mess of things, so I was wondering, strange request, we're going to go back there. We have a few more things to do, but I kind of put on a big show as a distraction, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking for me when we go back. Can I offer you a trade, maybe a gold piece, and I can cut your hair and your beard and maybe keep it? I'm not going to do anything weird like eat it or anything, or no spells. I got to make myself a mustache and a wig.
Nothing weird, but you want my hair?
I just need it. Well, if you want to, I'll tell you right now, if you were in the same place, I'd offer you my hair. I don't have a beard, but I'd offer it to you if I could. All I'm asking is if you really need it. For a gold, you can go buy yourself, whatever you want when you get back in. If you take a beard, you can get a
wig or something.
I don't think they sell wigs here. I don't want to show up there and then be like, look at him, that's him!
Yeah, but you've got a means of egress. You're able to get out of this place. I'm stuck in this hellhole.
That's why you don't need to look good. You're not trying to impress anybody here.
I'm not worried about my looks. I'm worried about keeping the damn snow off the top of my head.
Oh, it's fine. Just get a hat and it'll be fine. Are you telling me you won't help me out? It's just for
All right, look. Look, this has to be the weirdest request I've had since coming out here, but are we talking like full on bald, or you just need some?
No, I mean I'll just give you a nice clean cut here at the top, and just a nice you can still keep a decent little quarter-inch, half-inch beard. It won't be all off. I just want to take the outside so I can make it into curly Q.
Are you lying, or are you telling the truth?
No, I'm telling the truth. It's all 100% accurate.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if you were actually going to try to take it all or not. Go ahead and make a persuasion check. You got a 22. Yeah. You got a 19 plus 3, so. Which, by the way, you guys can now see his portrait and the name that I put in there for him in the chat. Although this may be a little bit, what's the word? Pre.
Yeah, pre. I think I said this. Yeah. I said it in the last game though. Giuseppe.
All right, fine. Look, this is fucking strange, but whatever.
I got it.
I got a laugh out of it, and I'm fucking bored standing here anyway. So
sure.
Here, I don't want to sit in the snow, so I'm just going to sit on this box. Can you promise me you're not going to try to steal out of it while you're cutting?
No, I'm fine. I'm not going to try to steal out of it. I'm just interested in getting your hair for my own head.
All right,
and then I'm going to do that.
Let's do this. I could use a haircut anyway.
Okay, I wasn't really planning on stealing the bomb, so that was the first thing.
Okay.
I was then going to try to use the I put him in the bag of holding, but we have or I think it's actually in my lockbox. I have a diplomat's kit, and I was going to try to make as professionally as I can multiple basically documentation papers saying that we are an envoy with the Juthrans on the special assignment, and another saying we were on a special assignment from the Empire from to
so depending on who you run into,
the Empire from the Juthrans, and then would Pogo know of any other major either trade union or something in that area that might be of import that he would think would get him through a checkpoint, things like that?
Certainly with the hostilities between the Empire and Vabi right now, there aren't any kind of a trade union, any kind of a merchants conglomerate or anything like that is not going to get you through a blockade. Okay. So nothing of that sort. But as far as the kind of nation states that could get you through, you could fill any data from a country called Kedril, which is on the border, Pale, which is actually where the Juthrans are, so technically you'd be Pale is a theocracy and the Juthrans essentially run it. That's where you guys came from, was Eifelstead.
Got it.
And Pale. So both of those would probably be your best bet.
So I'd probably do 2, whatever Pogo would feel more confident. I guess since he was there, he might have an idea of what it might look like, or at least have a better idea. And then the last one is going to be a patents of almost like a flyer for a traveling circus, and I'm going to try to put us on it, so it's like a fake flyer showing that we're actually a traveling entertainment group.
First, so before you make those rolls, give me a sleight of hand check for how well you cut string
cutting hair. Yep.
Yeah.
I was hoping that actually wouldn't happen, but. Okay, here we go.
So I was kind of hoping it'd be awful, just to have an awful haircut to be mad at you about. But you managed
one more person I have to awkwardly avoid.
For the 6 weeks it takes for his hair to grow back. But no, you managed to give him a decent enough cut. If anything, it looks better. He has the kind of distinguished look.
Look at that, you're a handsome man about town.
I got to admit, my head feels a little bit lighter. I don't know that I'll miss the hair until I see what you're going to do with it anyway.
All the women will want to be with you, and all the men will want to be with this haircut. Look at that.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. You be safe on that trip out there. And if I see you coming back with that, if the whatever you're making of this thing is going to bring me any kind of shame or dishonor, I'll be giving you your gold back and taking it.
I mean, yeah, it's just a bit of a mustache and a wig. I mean, that's fine. All right.
All right. Well, just make sure it looks good.
Sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and pocket that, and then I was gonna go. While I was out, I was gonna look for some poison as well.
Okay. Well, as far as we're gonna need to do the forgeries for the I would say that the circus one is fine. That one you can easily do. You've seen enough of those. You've made your own flyers plenty of time that's not something you need to forge. But forging official documentation from nations that you don't see a lot of official documentation from is a much harder request. Go ahead and make sleight of hand. One with disadvantage for Kedril, and then one with a normal roll for Pale.
I'll just roll it twice because.
Hey, all right. Well, you got.
Well, was that? Wait, that was with just the one. So that's the second one. That's the right one.
Okay. All right. Well, still, the Kedril roll is a 23. Then that's still really good. You say that this. Call it a in your inventory. Just make a notes for a writ of passage, and then put Kedril in parentheses. Or just note that it's Kedril, and it's certainly a competent work. It looks, you feel like you could sell it this way, at least a little bit of talking your way through it. You think you could pull it off. Go ahead and make a check for your Pale version with a normal check.
All right. I'm on fire tonight.
All right. Yeah, all good rolls. Yeah, your Pale one, similarly. That one you actually saw a lot of the iconography and what the sigils look like. And you managed to also pull that one together. You think that both of these would probably, with some fast talking, could get you through a check if needed.
Okay.
As long as you don't really people that know what they should actually look like. As far as poisons... Yeah, Pale and Kedril.
Cool.
As far as poisons, the Crowblenders don't stock poison. It's not something you would typically have, but you do remember that Arteme was trying to prepare some things for you, so she may have something ready by now.
Okay. All right, then I'll deal with the rest in narrative.
Okay. All right, then. As far as for Sunday, Sarah, I had a couple of things for you that you'd already told me you were going to do. Are you doing anything else for your Sunday?
Just taking a bath and putting on one of those new sets of fine clothes that I bought.
Okay. All right. You do realize that you will be traveling soon, too, right? Is this just for Sunday? Or okay. All right.
No, because the ones that I'm wearing, I've been wearing since the beginning of the campaign. I'm assuming that they are terrible. Okay,
so these are just new fine traveling clothes or fine clothes for you to destroy in travel. Okay.
Yep, I got like 3 more in my lockbox. So.
All right. Then midday on Sunday, you stopped by Imperial Historian Quill's quarters in the East Tower of the Crow Fort. He was very welcoming and seemed happy to have a visitor. His quarters were unsurprisingly very Spartan. Of course, that's kind of what you expected after having spent some time with him. He's got a small bed and a lone desk with a single candle burning on it, and a square window that is piled up halfway outside with snow. So clearly, he's not even taking time to kind of brush the snow away. On the desk is a large open tome with a pen and a vial of ink beside it. But he gives you a big smile. What is it that brings you to see me, Lady Sarah?
So I know you're a great historian and you know a lot of history of all over. I was wondering, what was it?
Corvaline, yeah.
I was wondering if you knew anything about the history of Corvaline.
There you go. That's the spelling of it there if you needed it. Well, your flattery will get you everywhere. So as far as what I know of it, I mean, that's... I guess you're going to narrow it down a little bit. I mean, I know at least what everyone else does and probably a bit more on top. So did you have a specific question?
So the first part of my text that I had sent you about it, was Pogo okay with me telling people?
Yes, I asked him specifically. He said he's fine.
All right.
Yeah, when you sent me that...
Pogo doesn't know enough to know if he should be really worried yet or not, so he'd be fine.
When you sent me that, I texted Justin and literally when I texted Justin, it was like, Becky asked if Sarah knows if Pogo will care if it was like 4 different like proper nouns that I had to get through.
Okay,
Anyway.
so Pogo has seemed to acquired a bit of new magic since he died and came back, and it seems to be Corvling. He says he met some weird person while he was dead, and he made a deal, but he doesn't know what that deal exactly is. So I'm just trying to cover all my bases at this point. I don't want anything to happen, especially since this is pretty much my fault.
When you're saying all of this, his eyes kind of squint further and further, and he kind of looking off to the side a little bit, like he clearly does not believe you. Let me clarify. Not that he thinks you're lying, just that he thinks you don't have accurate information, I guess, is the impression that you get. And he says, I mean, pardon me for saying so, young one, but you must be mistaken. Corvlane is long dead, pardon my pun. Its use is unheard of in our time and for a couple thousand years hence. I mean, I'm no mage, admittedly, but as I understand it, the rills that reached Corvlane no longer touch our world. Are you certain it wasn't just modern Demolane that you sensed?
Nope. I'm sure I cast Identify on Pogo himself, and that was the magic that came back, along with his original magic that he already had.
He kind of turns in place, like kind of a halfway turning away from you a little bit, and you see him kind of reach up and kind of stroking his chin a little bit. I guess I would need more information to know for sure. I mean, I can tell you the history of it. I don't know that it can't be right. It can't be. That's. I mean, Demolane is the rill of death, but it's death of the natural order. Are you certain that that's not what you sensed on him?
I mean, unless something went wrong with the spell, then that's the information that it gave me.
Yeah, you are sure. By the way, you're certain. The threads of magic that were surrounding Pogo were sickly and corrupted, like a perversion of death. Demolane is the kind of standard rill of death. That's where Crow. That's where Crow lives. Lord Crow, the actual god of death, not just an ascended. It's Crow's Thicket is there. Crow's Thicket is inside of Demolane, essentially. Just the same way that the Azul house is inside of the Azul rill. All that stuff. You guys remember that? Same idea. All right. So, anyways, you're certain. And he says, well, I mean, I guess I'm just going to have to take your word for it. And I'm glad, I guess, that I'm not within his vicinity. I don't think Pogo ever met Quill, by the way, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He probably seen him, but he hasn't. Doesn't sound like a name I remember.
Okay. All right. He says, well, as far as information I know about it, we believe it was discovered by the Terrasovans, along with the other Elder Rills. The Terrasovans passed their knowledge of its use down to the Iskil, who handled it down to the Yuan Ti and the Tegu Ra, who used it to build the wonders of the ancient Vabian Domain. The Yuan Ti and the Tegu Ra raised Corvlane as an engine. It's what essentially powered the Vabian Domain for 10 millennia. Their armies, their infrastructure, their agriculture, monuments, everything. They built it all with dead slaves. Or Mortis, as I'm sure you guys, having come out of Vabi, you probably know, but not so different really than the Vabi of today, sure, but the Archons and the Sultans and the Kings of the Dead South didn't limit themselves only to the reanimation of dead flesh. They were also prolonging their own lives long past expiration. All of the magistrate, all of their nobles and so on, all of the major houses were ruled for thousands of years by the same people. When the body of an ancient Vabian king became decrepit and old, they would transplant their spirit into a new one. A young person would be bled near, to unconsciousness near death, and then as the king or queen or magistrate or whatever drew his or her last breath, the Mott priests would bend Corvlane to suck the spirit from into the new body, and the younger spirit into the dead king's old flesh, or the dying king's old flesh. And then they would just do this over and over and over again, for perpetuity until they were actually died or couldn't have this practice done near one of the Mott priests. For example, you've probably heard of King Neferkare. For example, he was a Tegu Ra who was typically the Tegu Ra only usually lived to about 45-50 years or so, but Neferkare ruled for over 1400. So these just countless new bodies that of these high crimes against the natural order of kind of killing a young person and transplanting it themselves into that body. And this was,
So
of course,
Stargate. We're doing Stargate?
I've never seen
Is that how it works in
Stargate.
Stargate? Oh, okay. I think that's how the Egyptian alien people do their thing. Never
Oh,
mind.
okay.
It's
Well,
cool.
that's
Yeah,
actually
it
Egyptian
was like
mythology.
some-
That's literally
No, no,
Egyptian
no, no,
mythology
no.
that I
It's like
took
a
it
weird
from.
alien thing.
No, it's
Right?
for that. It's not actually their souls that is being transferred. It's what is being in control is a parasitic entity that is taking over. So that's completely different.
That's right. I remember now.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm referring to actually here is part of
Here
ancient
is-
Egyptian mythology.
Yeah, here
But-
is soul transference
Yeah.
is more of along the lines of it.
Yeah. And Quill continues, though. He says, this was, of course, a direct thumb in the eye to Lord Crow, and you don't long deny Lord Crow his due before his reapers come knocking at your door. And back in those days, of course, Crow's reapers weren't as gentle as Ceres or Ophelia or Ketis, by all accounts. So we don't have concrete answers as to how Lord Crow altered it, but Corvaline was deflected away from for all intents and purposes. So the ability to tap into that Elder Rill is disappeared, and we were given this kind of watered down cousin of Demolaine, this unaltered, unbastardized version in Demolaine.
Well, I appreciate all the information, but yeah, you should probably stay on your toes because it seems like it's coming back. And will you spell, what was it, King Nefertari?
Neferkari, yeah. Here.
Terry. I thought you said Terry.
There you go. He was a pretty famous king. I mean, even it's imagine similar to us knowing who King Tut. Well, you know, the knowing at least a little bit, or at least knowing the name, even if you don't know, he was a little kid and misshapen and things like that. Even if you don't know the details, people know the name because he was probably one of the most famous of the ancient kings of Vabi. Which, by the way, Arteme does have a book all about. So she has a book about the ancient kings of Vabi.
Is it in the back of holding?
Maybe you've had it for a while.
I think I read that, didn't I, in the library?
Pretty sure you did. Yeah, you would have read more about Neferkari there too.
Do they describe King Nefertari?
Yeah, so he was a Tegu Ra, which you know the race or know about them, but you've certainly never met them. They're mostly what's what I'm looking for? They keep to themselves. They basically in their own little kind of subcultures. They don't have others in their community. They don't have other species. They rarely communicate with them. Tegu Ra are like a gargantuan monitor lizard, like a. When they're standing up on their front legs, or on their back legs rather, which is how they typically are when they're communicating, they'll basically walk around on quadrupedally. But they, when they're doing anything or talking to you, being social at all, they will stand up on their back legs, and at that point they're about 14 feet tall, so extremely tall, and about 20 feet nose to tail. With some growing much larger, but they're basically a very large reptilian species.
Right, and I'm guessing since he ruled for 1400 years and Crow had to take over, do you know what kind of ruler he was? I mean, is there any kind of information on that?
What do you mean Crow had to take over?
Well, I mean, you said Crow deflected the role, so I'm assuming he eventually died of natural causes, right?
Yes, and then another Vabian king took over after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. It's like Crow had to interfere so he wasn't.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, I thought the way you said that, I thought you were asking if Crow was leading Vabi, was the king of Vabi at that point.
He had to interfere, so he wasn't really.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So Crow. Okay. How do I word this? The ability was taken away. So there isn't any word, like Crow didn't go and kill Neferkari. He just prevented him from being basically the resurrect. The ability for them to transfer their souls stopped because they couldn't access Corvaline anymore.
Yeah. I just meant, is there any information on what kind of ruler he was? Like a fair one, a nasty one?
I mean, accounts vary, but in general, nobody was happy with his rule. It was a tyrannic rule for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I guess that is it for me and Quill.
All right. then he, thanks you for coming. He offers you to if you guys want to get together later with the group in the Crow's Nest and have a few drinks. He can certainly answer some more questions if you've got some. Then,
we had invited Ozzy over that
You
night
did.
for drinks, right?
which is this coming night, so that's still coming up.
Yeah, so I'll let him know if he wants to come over and drink with us. Ozzy's supposed to be coming over.
I may actually. That sounds like fun. So then I guess I'll see you in a few hours.
All right, we'll see you then.
You make your way out of Quill's quarters. The door closes behind you, and your nose is immediately just flooded with the very overpowering scent of lavender oil, as like someone bathed in it. You turn your head, to head down the hall, and you pass the brightly dressed quartermistress Rook. And at first, she gives you a beaming, happy smile that, as soon as she recognizes the door that you're walking away from, fades rapidly into a frustrated scowl. And she kind of almost stomps away from you towards that same door, towards Quill's door. You think you might have heard her murmur some curse words under her breath as she rushes past you. She appears to have been kind of waiting nearby and then sees the door that you came out of.
Hi, Rook. Hi, Rook. Sorry. Not what you think.
But so later on, is there anything else you're doing during the day then?
No, just hanging out with my dad then until Ozzy gets there.
Okay. All right. Then everybody. So real quick, who all would be kind of visiting with Ozzy, potentially Quill? Basically, you guys know that Sarah had set up time for Ozzy to come over and drink in the Kettle Keep with you guys, just to have a few drinks and kind of talk and plan and kind of answer questions and things like that. Who else would be there?
Me.
Me too.
Okay. Norok, Arteme, are Pogo and Nazim joining?
I'd probably be like a loner.
Okay, sitting in the corner.
Yeah, just kind of sit in the corner and
Sorry,
eat something and drink something bland.
No problem.
I think I was muted, so I'd be there too.
Okay. All right.
I would
then
also
everybody...
be. I'd be there with my bag of hair, turning it into a
Okay, so
mustache and a wig.
so you're going to be making your disguise while you're sitting with them. Okay.
I can't picture the jackass skit.
If he does too much of a horror job, I take it out of his hands.
You can try to help him with it, or just taking it away from him,
Just
and he has
take it
to
away
acquire
from him
new
and do
hair.
it.
Remember, none of you put on an entire show in front of like hundreds of soldiers just declaring he was the great Pogo. In hindsight, was a terrible idea.
Ozzy says, but you do realize that you're not going back into Juthran territory, right? We specifically didn't want to send you back there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by all means, Pogo, if you want
I
to,
did not, but I've made my decision.
no, you've got to stick to it, right? Yeah.
I'm like gonna stare, like hold up, be like, "Oh, I'm really bad at maps. That's my fault."
Oh, that one? Oh, shit. I did not remember the one you were talking about, Salco, until you just posted that. I don't remember that now.
Oh,
That's all in the Hero Quest channel too. That's good. But anyway, at the end of last session, Ozzy said that he can send you guys straight back if you want to, right back to the outside of Eifelstead if you wanted to. But it would probably be better instead to go a little bit further south into the Wad Plains and then go from basically be a little safer. You wouldn't be there with the Juthrans to make your way north.
Yeah, no. The last time I went through there, the guard that was sleeping had a Juthran book, so not the best idea.
Well, I mean, of the two, it's not that much further of a trek, and to be honest, I mean, it's at least, I don't know their current status, Norok, maybe you can fill us in a bit, but, I mean, your people should be in the vicinity anyway, right?
Yeah, not too far away.
If I'm being honest, I'm going to feel a bit foolish going and trying to return this hair back to strings, so I think I better just continue doing this.
I love that one.
Like,
one
now
tiny bit
I've
of
kind
Justin,
of been... Yeah.
One tiny bit of Justin, like, missing a tiny detail at the very end of the session has led to now Giuseppe into this whole new identity that Pogo has to create.
I'll never get
Had
those.
disguise.
He does. He could totally
Yeah,
have done it
but-
just with magic if he wanted to.
Yeah, but
I mean, you do you.
I don't know what's going with that. I felt like this was more permanent.
Well, I mean, as far as the timing, anyways, if you're all ready for some drinks, I could certainly use some.
Yeah, we got this really ancient wine. Like, really ancient.
why I'll take the character out that makes like the wine and stuff, but I'm not drinking any wine.
You don't want it? You don't want some of the,
No,
10,000-year-old wine? Sure.
Army just doesn't drink.
Yeah.
It doesn't agree with everybody. So, anyone else worried about Clover? Not Clover. Yeah, Clover.
Yeah, Clover.
Clover? Yeah, Clover. I feel like
Commander certainly
if
is.
they had, I mean, is there any leads? Is there anything about that? I mean, it seems. I hate to say it, but if there was something pretending to be Clover, it probably knows about Clover. It knew all these details. It seems like she's probably at least been captured by somebody or something.
Ben,
do we know
quick,
if that thing was even?
Ben, you're breathing on the mic, dude.
Do we know if that thing was even part of this? The Vabians? Like, it didn't seem like anything else I've seen so far. It seemed different.
I haven't seen any connection. It doesn't mean that there isn't, but I don't know. I don't have enough information to say that there is any connection to the Vabians. I certainly wouldn't think so, because they were, at least where Clover was sent to was square in the middle of the Empire, or the capital, certainly, at the very least. So,
do you think the capital might? Do you think the capital does anything like this, or is this something totally separate? Like the capital wouldn't be sending out monsters like that to figure out what's going on here, do they?
Even if they were, I can't imagine they would do it under the guise of a Crowblinder lieutenant, though. I mean, they'd have better means of doing this. And what you said initially about her well-being, of these creatures having to have enough time with her to study her, to be able to replicate her, is completely correct.
DM question. Didn't we think that whoever was, like, the Emperor's or whatever the king's right hand, was corrupt or whatever, controlling him?
Yep. Well, Clover. So not like saying it out loud too. I'm pretty sure Clover was set to maybe do some with that situation.
Who you're referring to is his grand advisor, Zimra, and Clover was the impression that you all got, thanks to Nora kind of catching Clover's eye when you were all in the war room once. Noticed that she was it looked like she was preparing for an assassination mission, is kind of the impression that he got.
Yeah, the room got a little murdery.
Yeah.
Got a little murdery in that room.
Yeah, and that was definitely the impression that you guys got, is that she was being sent specifically to convince, and this was in air quotes here, the Emperor or his advisors, in this case Zimra, to one, what's the word I'm looking for? Uncriminalize? I guess decriminalize the Crowblinders, because the Crowblinders are kind of on the outs with the Empire right now, and then send, support.
So back in there, so do we think maybe these melted people things are working for...
Is that what we're calling them? We're calling them melted people? Is that like...
That's what they call
them. Is that like a thing?
Right?
God, someone needs to
literally what they're
brand that better, I think. They should have gotten a better name. It's just terrible.
The melted...
They look like a melted person.
Yeah, Ozzy says they're, by what we know, which is limited to be fair, but what we know is they're really called the Gith. Their actual name is the Gith. Peasants refer to them as the melted people, which, I mean, it's fine. I'm not calling you all peasants. You call them melted people if you'd so like, but their actual name as a people are the Gith.
The things that you think will offend me are pretty hilarious to me, just so you know. Melted people. Oh.
Sarah, over the span of the evening, you explained what Quill had told you. Quill doesn't show up, by the way, but you explained what Quill had told you about Corvalane. And he adds a few minor details here and there. He does explain that while the Rill is still technically reaching the ability to sense it and therefore tap it has been nullified in living creatures. Likely, he kind of enforces a little bit of what Quill said, that likely at Lord Crow's hand, as of course, he was probably pretty pissed off about the blatant theft of the souls that should have been coming to him. Like how the nullification is done in a sense that, like, for example, if you remember those old, like, 3D glasses, like when old 3D movies that was one red lens and one blue lens that were just plastic filled.
Red blues.
Yeah. So if you take, say, for example, you just took the red lens and put it over your eyes and then tried to look at something that's red, it won't have a color. It's essentially that. It's that it's still there, but nobody can see it or sense it anymore. And that's essentially how Ozzy describes it from a mage's perspective.
Do you know what could make somebody all of... I mean, obviously, whoever it was that he saw when he was dying gave it to him, but do you know how that would happen if nobody's supposed to be able to sense it anymore?
It shouldn't even be possible. Well, while Pogo's spirit was outside of his body, someone took the blinders off, something of that sort, right? And is just that shouldn't be possible in this day and age.
Right.
Really, the only way that I can even imagine is that it would need to be someone who was capable of already sensing it in the first place, which means we're talking, somebody extremely old, of course, which there are some species that live to that age, but not any of the Vabians, for that matter. So the culture that actually used it in the first place don't live this long, at least not anymore, since the deflection was put in place.
Can I hear this? Are they on their own?
No, this is all in the room.
You said you were fine with it, so Sarah's not hiding it.
Sure.
And to clarify, when Pogo met this guy, was he super tall, or was the staff taller, like way taller than him?
Okay, so here's the thing. I need to answer that question because I need to make sure that everybody understands exactly what Pogo saw, or at least what Pogo told you that he saw. But the thing is for me to hit on this now kind of reveals something important. So don't meta knowledge this. It's okay for the players to know. The PCs don't necessarily know that this is an important detail. Okay, what Pogo saw was let's say a regular humanoid height, regular human height, so around 6 feet, let's say. Pogo, of course, is much shorter, so it's possible his perspective was a little bit different, especially because he was also dead at the time. But at least from a Pogo's perspective, it looked like a normal human who was holding a staff that was like 16 feet tall.
Big.
Gargantuan staff. Does not make sense. Like, not even just too tall, but also much too big around, like a tree almost, for this human to be holding on to this staff. It didn't make any sense. It looked completely abnormal.
But based on what Sarah got from Quill, would it make sense that it would be Nefakari's staff? About the right height?
Let's say potentially about the right height. Not any reason to believe Neferkari specifically, but somebody of an ancient Vabian, maybe a Tegu-Ra, some sort of... Remember, the ancient Vabians were specifically believed to just be giants, but it's mostly because most of the species at the time, including the Yuan-Ti and the Tegu-Ra, were very, very large people. They weren't humans. Remember, humans only arrived on this planet 2,300 years ago, so we're talking much further back than that.
Yeah, I just meant like his species. It would be...
that would certainly be possible, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Any further questions for Ozzy? Any other discussion to be had with him before everybody settles in for the evening?
So, Ozzy, how did you come to be here? How did you come to get with this group instead of your other previous employers?
Largely against my will, to put it frankly. I've been friendly with the Crowblinders for quite some time, of course, but Maibi, who you all rescued recently, she and I are members of a... how do I say this? Subterfuge faction amongst the Vabian government. And when the current Khan, Dawa, started these conflicts with the Empire, we see it as the best means of preventing that is this kind of an alliance here.
So you're just basically, it's not that you have anything against your hometown, you just really think that to save the most lives and have the best conclusion for everybody is to just, with this means, and try to end it before it gets too bad, supposedly? Try to save your own most lives from your own country?
My only goal is to save the most number of lives.
Oh, sweet.
That requires a lot of sacrifice, both of myself and even of you. I mean, you all have sacrificed much in the same endeavor here. Us all being at the same goal. My Evie as well. I mean, she's still recuperating from the sacrifices she's made, and I expect there will be more before we're done. But yeah, that is my only real goal. Is I'm not even so concerned with the peace itself, so long as it just means that the common folk are not paying for the wars of the nobility.
No, that's fair. That's a very noble. It's nice to hear that there's people, on both sides. Kind of would have been telling them we don't have to, make sure that we don't kill people unnecessarily. We just want to, it's not always the greatest means to an end. We just need to be maybe a little more careful where we tread. That's, don't have to hurt everyone you run into. So it's nice to hear there's just good people on both sides, I suppose.
Cheers to that.
I forgot to ask, is my dad in here drinking with us?
I forgot your dad was even fucking here. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, I'm going to say that he's not. I'm going to say that he's back resting it. Like you probably, intended on him not being here. Although, if you want to bring him down, that's fine. But otherwise, no.
Nope. I mean, I probably would have introduced him to Ozzy when he first got there, but then, hopefully he would have gone to bed.
All right. All right. Anything else for the evening, guys?
Pogo's probably still pretty tired, so once he's done, he's just gonna call it a night and get ready to go in the morning.
Give me another sleight of hand check, Pogo. With advantage, actually.
Right.
Oh, well, good thing you had advantage.
Oh, hold on. That's actually still my first roll.
Oh, that was your, okay. Yeah, that was your halfling roll.
And there's
there
my real one.
Okay, all right.
I'm on fire, guys. As soon as we go into battle, it's going to be all ones, I'm sure. Or twos.
The wig that you've managed to piece together, and the magic. What's it called? Magic gum, something like that. Just gum, whatever. It's the stuff that the glue you use for face prosthetics for movies and shit. Anyways, you managed to create not only a functional disguise, but a decent looking one. It actually looks nearly natural and stylish enough to kind of still be stage worthy for you. Just moved it to the other one. There you go. All right, then everybody settling in for the evening.
Before Sarah goes to bed, she will reluctantly look at whatever is written on the scroll.
Okay.
It's avoiding it, so.
It is hastily written, and it is only half of a sentence, and it says, shit, where did it go? I had it in my notes here. It was half of a sentence, and then was cut off. I'm gonna have to send it to you because I put it in there originally. I thought I said it. I sent it to you in the chat a while back. I could probably either scroll back there or I could find it in my notes, one of the two. But anyways, it was brief, and it was. I guess the tone of it was essentially, that it was a means to an end and he did what was necessary, was the impression you got.
I remember it being not very pleasant, so Sarah just rolled it up and wasn't going to try to read it.
Sure. He also had just lost Kamazoth, by the way, which yes. You maybe after the fact then realize that that's also important.
Yes. Just to clarify, Sarah believes that Kamazoth is a regular familiar, that he can just resummon him, correct?
That's what. So you do. Okay, let me clarify then. Yes, that's what Sarah expects, that he is a regular. Okay, Justin, a regular familiar, but it's worse than that. There's a lot. So you don't know the specifics, although Sarah would definitely have some understanding now that Kamazoth dying is a bigger problem, much bigger problem than it is if if Sai or if Noctua gets blasted and you just bring him back an hour later, kind of thing.
Okay.
The impression. Yeah.
No, he died. What?
Yep. Sarah was a giant ape carrying Pogo and left that behind.
And the Juthrans are not exactly going to, be too friendly to a gargantuan bat, arcane creature that is clearly being puppeted by a mage.
I thought he'd be teleported out, like brought back to his master's side. No.
Yeah. No, well, okay. So here's your clue, by the way, for another reason that Sarah might also have recognized that is that Kamazov never just appeared next to you. He flew with his. Remember, he flew all the way carrying books, and then turned around and flew back both times, at least both times, maybe three. That he came to see you. It was never as simple as just teleporting back the way that you guys do with Sai or Noctua or a regular familiar. So it's clearly something more than that. But anyway. So I was going to move us into a separate scene, but God damn it. Fucking A. I didn't mean to do that. Well, shit. God damn it. Now I have to. Fucking A. Alright, I didn't mean to do that, and I screwed it all up. So I'm just going to move us back to the Crow Fort. You guys can just leave it on the white screen for a second if you want. That's fine. We'll move in here in a minute. This kind of ruins this a little bit. Ben, middle of the night, Norok, as you've kind of become accustomed to these because you've had this same dream numerous times. I've brought the scene up, which is what I was going to do. Is I was going to bring the scene up, but with this stupid bug, I didn't want to bring it up. And you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyways. It'll be brief anyways, but since it's got to reload for everybody, it won't really matter.
All right.
So Norok, middle of the night though, this same dream, you've had it numerous times. It's the same repetition. It's the same steps. You step towards the you're in this waiting room. You step towards the counter. Sorcia's behind it, still kind of intact again. She steps away from the counter, kind of shrinking away from you. Bumps into the counter behind her, which caused all the vials of medicines and so on that are in the cabinets behind her, kind of rattling a little bit. She kind of murmurs in your direction, still looks extremely uncomfortable, a little bit afraid. She says he's been expecting you. I mean, we knew you'd come eventually, and her eyes keep kind of darting towards the white door.
All right, I'm just going to open the door again.
Okay. You open the door and step in through it. The window is wide open, the window having been broken out. As soon as you step through, the room looks old, it looks aged, it looks destroyed, like this place has been abandoned for a long time. The waiting room did not. The waiting room was warm and normal, as it always is. This waiting room, operating room, rather, you've seen it like this a couple of times. Some of the times you come into this room, it's like the town has been abandoned for years, and the window's been broken and kind of weathered, and that's how it looks right now.
Okay. Then I'm just going to go back out in the first room and leave out the front door then.
Okay.
Does it look the same like in the first room?
Okay. Yeah, so you actually, you step back into, as soon as you turn around, the main room, the waiting room, is destroyed as well. It's long since weathered. All of the cabinets with a glass window or glass doors are smashed open. The vials are either broken or tipped over to one side. A couple of them have what looks like long aged liquid that is kind of spilled out of it and just dried in place, stains all over. The windows are broken. The door that leads into the room is kind of hanging on a hinge and off to one. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Not just ajar, but like hanging, like it's broken and hanging off of a hinge. Sorcia's not there.
All right, I'm just gonna leave out the front door then, or the opening for the front door, whatever
Okay.
it is.
All right. You walk out the front door, and just like the last time that you had this dream that you remember it anyways, is when you jumped up through the window, feet hit the ground outside the front door, and you snap awake in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Give me a Constitution check. I think you have advantage by default. This would be a disadvantage, but because you have a regular advantage, it'll be a normal roll. I meant to hit prepare or preload on the other one, and I hit it on the wrong one. The stupid scene bug thing. I wonder what's causing that, because that's going to make... I guess we'll just have to refresh when we get to the other one. So you struggle getting back to sleep the rest of the night, knowing that you're kind of finally on your way, heading back to go through the process of Falkvang and returning Obo's bones. You don't actually need to be there necessarily for Falkvang, but even getting his bones settled means returning to your homelands, and that means kind of dealing with what happened a few months ago, and the likely decimation of your people, if there are any left. You don't know, but certainly the majority of the family and friends that you knew were gone. But you struggled to finally get some sleep. You do eventually nod back off enough to at least get your normal full rest. And we will come to the morning. Let me go ahead and activate that one. Although, yeah, I don't think that we're probably going to have to refresh scenes, guys. Don't worry about it. You don't need to refresh this one. In fact, here, I'll just move us back to this one. That'll be easier.
You know what's funny? I just have I don't even have I can barely even see it. I've got my character sheet and notes.
Oh, just stuff in front of it?
Yeah.
Well, you might have to refresh. Well, don't worry about refreshing now. If it doesn't load the page, it's fine. You can just this is just back at the Crowfort image here, and I'll try to preload. I don't think it's going to work. I'll probably have to refresh when I get to the next page. That's fine. Don't worry about it though for now. You can. I'll tell you when to reload when we get to the next scene if we need to. Everybody wakes though. The date is Moon Day, the 1st of Brandusk. Which I'm going to go ahead and tell you is an important date, especially not just for the Yogg, but any of the peoples of the Wuod Plains. Really, most of the peoples the world over, because today would be the winter solstice. Literally, it just so happens that the actual date of the calendar that was on here, you guys were on the 28th, or sorry, the 27th, and there's only 28 days in each month. So literally, because of the day of rest, because of technically, I'd actually thought you guys were going to be here the day before, but Pogo being dead kind of threw a wrench in things a little bit, which slowed it down yet further.
Sorry, guys.
So literally, I had this planned for a while, but literally I expected you guys to be there one day earlier, which will be important later on. But for now, today, actually, I'm going to go ahead and say it this way. Norok, when you wake up, you realize the importance of what day this is, especially for agricultural cultures and any peoples that are very reliant on the kind of the natural world, right? Days like the winter solstice or sorry, I'm reloading a page here, so it might sound weird for a minute. Important for kind of, let's say that the what's the word I'm looking for? I guess the organization of things like the winter solstice are important for cultures because this is when they start doing this. This is when they start preparing for winter, things like that, right? Well, this is the first day of winter. Moon Day, the 1st of Brandusk. You are out of the of Harvestry, meaning autumn has ended. Yesterday was the last day of autumn, but it is morning time, and you are all waking, mostly well rested, with the somewhat exception of Norok. Go ahead and apply your long rests as needed.
I just needed another spell slot, so I just changed it.
That's fine. And what are you guys doing with your day? It is about 8 a.m.
And this is leaving, right?
Yep.
How about we just have some quick breakfast and get on our way? Get Norok taken care of.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain to my dad that we're gonna be gone for a while.
And
but you just got it. You're gonna leave me in this strange place with all these weird full-size folk?
They're great people, and if you ever need anything, go to Ozzy. And if Ozzy's not here, go to Pepperjack.
I don't want to bother the commander of this place when I need something.
It'll be fine. I mean, you can ask. Oh God, what's the name of the guy that?
Steppenwolf, I believe. Could be wrong.
Steppenwolf.
Is that not right? Was that not correct? Was it Aubrey? Adelaide?
For like regular things, if you need anything, just ask Abraham. But I mean, like if there's an emergency and whatever, just talk to Ozzy, talk to Pepperjack.
How long will you be gone?
It's not gonna be a long time.
I don't know.
A few days, maybe. I'm sure.
No, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be longer than that. I don't.
You don't have to tell him.
I don't want him to freak out.
I want to believe him. Pogo, just
how far do these little rocks work? Here, he can have this little rock, and then we can speak with him. How's that? Was that good enough?
No, because you're probably gonna need that. I mean,
all right.
He doesn't have one.
I'm sure we have some way of keeping in contact with your father.
Okay. Sarah knows that she can send Noctua with messages, right?
She hasn't done it yet, but she knows that Sai can do it, so you probably imagine that with the time, the Noctua could do the same thing.
I could put like a little scroll like on her leg and use her like a carrier pigeon, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It'll just take a long time, but yes.
Yeah, so if I need to, I can always send Noctua if something happens, but I don't know how long we're going to be gone.
I wanted to believe, I guess, Giuseppe. Couldn't you have come up with something better than that?
Giuseppe? It's Giuseppe. It's just pronounced Giuseppe.
Oh,
By the way,
it comes with an accent too?
Yeah, since we are going to a place and I don't want to be recognized, so Giuseppe. We can just call me Giuseppe, everybody. Isn't that going to be a fun trip? It'll make it for the fun times.
Oh man.
She whispers to Sarah, "He's so weird, but I think I kind of like him."
Yeah, me too. I mean, he kind of grows on you.
We're going to have the pizza and the pasta and then walk around on the beach and maybe get to the fun times ahead, you know.
Giuseppe, I'm giving you the most important quest of your life is to keep her safe. Bring her back.
I'll do my best.
I can take care of myself.
I know.
She's actually pretty strong. Stronger than she looks. That is for sure.
This accent is awful.
Find a different one, please.
Is that a request from Fox or Artemis?
Probably both.
All right.
All right. Tell you what. I'll just do it if we run into some sort of trouble. Otherwise, I'll speak normally. If we run into other people, then I'll switch it up just in case.
So that means, as Justin, you have to do your fake pogo, like regular pogo, and then switch to Italian, and then back again. All right.
I'm sure this isn't going to be difficult at all.
Then you guys make your way to the to the main part of the Crow Fort in the central keep, into the transportation room. Ozzy's there waiting. He's already got the sigils glowing. Look, guys, I'm not trying to rush you or anything, but I do have a lot ahead of me. So, where I'm sending you, I mean, if you guys have questions, now's the time because we got to get over these details pretty quick.
You're just. I mean, is it in the middle of nowhere? Is it
No. You're going to Dunbree. It's really it's the northernmost point that I have reason to believe should be relatively safe. Norok, as soon as you hear him say Dunbree, you realize, one, what today is, and two, what that means. A couple of things. Dunbree is an old Mephuan just a ruin. It's just a destroyed ruin. It's a Mephuan fortress when the Mephuans were here about 400 years ago. It's on the Wuad Plains. But most importantly is that today is the Zenithil Fray. It is the Wuad Plains tribes, which is just all of the different cultures, a bunch of different races, a bunch of different cultures. They all gather for a summit on the last day of autumn, which was yesterday, and then hold a small melee the following morning today to decide who can settle in the best grasslands for the winter. Because when winter comes, of course, most of the grasses die.
Right, I've got to ask a question.
Yep.
You're not putting us like in the middle of the melee. That's not where this circle is, right? It's not like in the middle of this battle that goes on, like right in the center.
Oh, come on.
Hang on, real quick. Ozzy doesn't necessarily know that that's what's happening right now. Norok is the only one that knows, and he hasn't said a word.
I mean, we can have the best.
Never mind then.
But just for DM fiat, let's say, whether Norok chooses to share that with you guys or not, that's up to him. But no, he's not dropping you in the middle of the melee. It's just that fortress is where the teleportation circle is. It's not in the middle of the battle or anything. And it's not a huge battle anyways. Basically, most of these tribes get along decently. Literally, the tribes are the Embers elves, which are, kind of some wild elves, essentially, that live on the plains there. The Reghead hill folk, which are dwarves and some humans and some halflings and so on. The Enola, who are centaurs. The Yenog, who are gnolls. The Ahiga, who are orcs. And then the Antaros tribe, which are Norok's people, the Yogg. They all live in this kind of in the Wuad Plains, essentially, and it's kind of a symbiotic relationship amongst most of them. There is some fighting between the tribes, but for the most part, they actually get along decently. This melee is kind of a good-natured way to decide who gets to get the best lands for the winter, while everybody else is kind of bunkering down and everything and trying to just survive the winter. So it's not a big, it's not a war. You're basically just dropping into like a festival, essentially.
We should go get the best lands for the winter, even though we're not going to be there.
I mean, we don't know that. Maybe we'll be there.
No, that's
going to
just
snow you
me
guys
saying
in.
it.
But Norok does know that realizing what today is, that today is the first brand dusk, means that this would be the day of the melee that would decide that.
Okay.
Literally the first day of winter. It's funny, actually, because I didn't intend for you guys to actually have to be there. But if you did, I thought you would be there in early enough time to go and help if you wanted, thinking that you'd be there also for the revelry part, which is the feasting the night before. You guys totally missed that because Pogo died, so...
We missed the party.
Yeah. So, anyways, just amusing timing with on the calendar there. But anyway, so he tells you that he'll be teleporting you into Dunbree, which is the only teleportation circle that's on the plains that is, reachable. The Wuod Plains tribes don't, create arcane sigils like this. So.
Okay.
All right. When we get there, I'll go ahead and get my bird back.
Okay. All right. Well, then, if you're ready to go, I will send you on your way. Then you all step into the kind of blue rune sigils. The glow snaps up around your feet. You all go tunneling through the scene that I can't move you to, the kind of wormhole-looking thing. And I'll go ahead and move you to this scene, and then you'll need to refresh when we actually get to this scene, then it looks like.
Yep. If anyone has notes open, don't forget to hit save.
Yeah, and definitely save anything first. Hang on, I think I have to turn on... No, global illumination is on. Why is that? Oh, token vision's on, too. Let me turn that off. All right. The effects aren't quite right, but that's fine. It won't hurt anything. So, you all tunneling through the wormhole space. Give me... I want all 5 of you to roll a d20. Each of you just roll a flat d20.
Cool. Mine's still low.
What this is going to decide is who comes out first. So whoever rolls...
This is going to take a minute.
Gray.
Boom! Wait, I might not like that, but we'll see. I'm just an old man!
Higher's better, yeah, higher's better. Well, higher is... Actually, let me refresh. Higher is not better, or let me rephrase, rather. Higher's not better, higher is who comes out first. So we're just going to go in order. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to refresh.
Okay.
I hope whoever's on the other side doesn't attack the older man.
Fox is still reloading too. So
Yeah, it's still loading.
no problem.
Give it a minute. Oh, we got some music. Got some tunes.
D20, right?
Oh shit! No, I got an 8. Okay. Well, once we have Fox's roll. Oh shit! Oh, it's a natural 20. All right. I just saw the Wilo pop up and I assumed it was a 1, but Fox actually got a natural 20. All right. Oh shit! That's actually never mind. That is kind of bad in this case. Pogo. So, of course, which is typical, of course, for Arteme. But Pogo and Arteme, you snap back open into this bright white plane. It is blindingly bright out here. I mean, you've been in snow recently, sure, but it's just like open air blinding. And immediately feel that there's no ground under you. And go arms carouseling through the air as you go plummeting towards the ground. It's only about 15 feet. It's not super high. You kind of smash into the dirt. Like a kind of dead grass dirt. Immediately kind of spinning in place, turning up and looking behind you. You see Nazim appear in front of a sigil that is like 45-degree angle up on the wall. Like a tower's been broken open and the arcane sigil that you just teleported out from is up 15 feet. You guys fell through a floor, essentially, because the teleportation signal is broken. It's still there, but it's tilted. Does that make sense? Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Arteme and Pogo go sailing down, smash into the dirt. Each of you roll a d6 for how much damage you take just for the fall. Spinning around, you see Nazim falling down towards you. Nazim, you can actually catch yourself in time if you roll give me a dex save, Nazim.
Okay. It's still reloading, refreshing.
Two. I'm at 73 hit points, so.
Okay.
All right, dexterity save.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nazim.
wait. Hang on. As I was falling, would I have been able to put wind walk on myself? Or wait,
If
no, that's just
you-
a flying thing. Never mind.
Yeah, that one's for fly. I mean, if you have some means of stopping yourself, you have enough time for one reaction. Let's say Nazim happens to have something to kind of slow himself, but you didn't quite make it in time, Nazim, and instead go because it was a 10 or higher. You plummet into the grass as well. Go ahead and roll a d6. for Nazim and for Fox, unless you have something to slow yourself, Arteme.
I'm looking, I don't.
When Norak comes out, can I use my halfling nimbleness to get advantage on whatever the hell I gotta save and not be crushed by his giant body?
So funny you should say that, because coming after Nazim, you see Nazim plummeting towards the ground, kind of seeing this kind of a white mask of his skin, kind of almost eyes going wide. Mouth doesn't really seem all that shocked, like maybe he's just, the muscles don't control his facial features enough to actually show that kind of surprise, except for the eyes. But unfortunately, right behind Nazim, you see an 800-pound, not quite 800 pounds, but a very large Norok appear in the space in front of it, also plummeting towards the ground, about to squash all of you.
I was just hoping I could try to roll out of the way or move out of the way and get an advantage with that halfling nimbleness.
Yeah, since you didn't use your reaction for the fall, go ahead and give me a dex save to try to get out of the way.
Yep.
Nazim's about the same place as Norok, so he's not really like behind him so much.
Maybe. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Pogo, you roll out of the way. Arteme, give me a dex save to try to roll out of the way.
He's so big!
To add in here, but under the effects, am I still with exhaustion 2 and 1?
No, those are down now.
Okay, I'll delete those off of my inventory.
No, don't delete them. That's one that's in effects, and you don't. So anything in the effects tab, you guys don't ever delete those. What you would do? No.
Go to your main page. It should show exhaustion, whether or not it's on there.
Okay, you all have to. I'll put them back on there for you, Sako. It's fine. There's actually you don't hit the delete. What you hit is the X instead, and it would move it to inactive. But it's fine. I can put it back on you later on when
the Dexter for some reason it's not going.
Yeah, I can roll it for you here.
Okay, because I tried like 3 times and it's not going through.
Where are you clicking?
I'm trying to click it from like the little corner, like the +2 on the dexterity thing.
You actually have to click on the word.
Yeah, click the word.
Dexterity.
Yeah, click the word dexterity, and then it'll pop up a box if you want to do a check or a save. There you go.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought you just clicked on like the. Okay, never mind.
I thought that's how it worked before too. Yeah, Ben was doing that for a long time. We just realized that a couple weeks ago. You dive out of the way just in time for Norok to. He has a moment also to try to save himself, but basically to not crush anybody. Norok, you are plummeting towards the ground. What are you doing? It's not very far. It's only like 15 feet.
I'll just drop and try to land on my feet.
I mean, it is like belly flop kind of ground low. It's not. I mean, because remember you were standing up straight, and this thing was tilted. It was 90. I said 45. I meant 90. You're falling face first, like horizontally.
I'll just roll up in a moment.
All right. Give me a dex save with advantage.
Does Norok break Sarah's fall?
He is in front of you, so technically yes. Like you'd be coming right behind him. So I mean, you could actually just kind of. Although you'd fall slower. I don't. No, you'd fall the same speed.
Don't you have feather fall that you could use?
She could,
I do. I'm just if Norok is there, I'm just gonna land on top of him. But if he's not there, I will use feather fall.
All right. Well, Norok, you try to roll yourself into a dive. Feel a halfling plink off of your back. Go ahead and take 1 damage from the halfling hit. Arteme or Fox, Sarah, God damn it, roll a d6 for how much damage you take from hitting him and hitting the ground. All right, so 3 damage to you, 1 to Norok for he managed to ninja roll, but still take some damage from the halfling hitting him. But you all kind of standing up, dusting yourselves off, looking around. Although Norok has not said anything yet, you do see dust clouds in all directions. You are standing by some broken, kind of long destroyed ancient ruins here, and down a slope is what's left of more of these ruins. There is a kind of a large pit in the middle. And most of these, there's 3 kind of major groups of people, and the groups are pretty small, unfortunately. Like Norok, you have been here a few times when you were younger. Your uncle and your father used to bring you here for the Zenithil fray, and these plains you should be seeing people of these different races certainly, but these people you should be seeing like to the horizon. And instead, these are only small groups of the centaurs look to have about 50, the orcs look to have 25, 30, not very many. You don't see any Yogg. None at all, and that's very worrying because your people should absolutely have representation here. And you don't see any of the gnolls, you don't see the hill folk, you don't see the elves. Basically, just these kind of 2 big encampments of people.
Can I ask the group what in the hell's going on here?
was supposed to be a very large festival with a, well, not always friendly melee going on, but looks to be very undersized this year.
Whether there's a festival going on here, like they're just gonna be hanging out.
Yeah, well, more of a friendly fight. But
That's interesting. Well, where do we go now?
Do we go join the fray for your people, or
Are we gonna go try to fight?
maybe we
This
should
doesn't really.
on the ways.
Let's go talk to them. Are these friendly? These don't. Some of them don't look, particularly your normal friendly type.
Well, he said it was friendly, or mostly friendly. Are they going to be friendly to tiny people and an elf girl and a half metal man?
Probably be fine.
I mean, maybe we should have Nazim not be half melted. At least.
It's okay. They look like they have thick skin.
Okay.
That's like partially what I'm worried about. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's kind of. They look tough. These are like a lot of strong people and things out here.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Look at that one! That one's head is the size of a fucking rock. It's a boulder.
Well, I mean, we made it through the Miatao ritual thing. I'm sure we could make it through whatever thing they need us to do.
Well, aren't we? All right.
I mean, I almost died, but I made it.
If you guys want to, if we're going and talking to him, I thought maybe we were heading somewhere else. I didn't realize this is where we're going.
There's a shout almost that kind of interrupts Pogo as he's speaking, and it's bellowing. It's loud. It's very deep. You guys have kind of gotten used to what a Yogg sounds like with Norok there. There's this kind of deep rumbling to his voice, and it sounds similar to that. And it's coming from behind the group, and it's Norok.
Another man! Don't talk to me!
Giuseppe kind of jumps over himself, spinning around to adapt this new persona, spinning in place. Probably 100 feet away, you see a lone Yogg trudging up the slope that's coming in your direction. After having seen the. By the way, when the circles go off, it does create a pretty big flare. Like you guys, I've described that a little bit, but it's pretty bright, especially when it was 90 degrees and kind of facing this encampment here. Somebody seems to have noticed it, and they seem to be coming to investigate. But it is a lone Yogg walking up this way. Norok, you do immediately recognize this person, although it's even from 100 feet away, you can see the recognition is a problem. Who is approaching, it appears to be your Uncle Shok, who you saw shot through the back of the head with a crossbow bolt, literally in our very first session, and killed. And it shot through the back of the head, went through his left eye, walking up kind of trudging up the hill towards you. Norok, is that you?
Yeah, it's me, but I don't think that's you.
Oh, friends.
Hang on, this doesn't seem right, guys. Do any of you...
He's not close enough to be able to hear you yet, if you're talking at normal.
Yeah, I'm going to talk at, a little bit quieter to make sure you can't hear me, but tell the group that he shouldn't be alive. Can any of you, pardon me, can any of you with more magic use or sense if he has any magic, because he shouldn't have any kind of magical energy at all, but he's not supposed to be alive. So.
Can I try a nature check if he's supposed to be dead?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a nature check with...
It's a good choice. Good choice.
I'd say that 19's fine enough. I'd say that you would even have advantage on that, specifically because, for a reason here you'll understand in a moment. He, looking at him from this distance with your weirdly articulating eyes, you don't sense a pulse coming from him. He's about 50 feet away at this point. It doesn't look like he's got a pulse. He's ambulatory, he's walking, but he looks fine, but you're not seeing the beating in the neck that you'd expect to see.
Okay, I'm just gonna point out that he doesn't really have a pulse. Also, I need a break in about 5 minutes, if that's possible.
Do you want to just take it now? Do you want to take it now, Fox, or do you want to...
No, it's because
You got tea or something? Okay, that's fine.
something. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to do a couple minutes. No,
No
I have groceries coming in, so I have to go help.
That's okay, no problem. All right.
Okay.
Social.
So I'm not great on biology, but you have a heartbeat, don't you, big guy? So that is something strange.
Yeah, and you'd probably be able to feel it from here with how big we are. So
All right, I'm just gonna step behind Norak. I want to be. I'd rather be not in the wherever this is going. Just I'll be behind Norak.
He's about 30 feet away at this point. Norok, it's me. You recognize me, right?
Ask him something only he would know.
yeah, I'm going to start walking towards him a little bit, so to kind of intercept him before he gets too close to the rest of the group.
Okay.
You know, like not like run or anything, just like walk towards him. You know, like I'm going to say, you know, hey, and I'm sorry, what was his name?
Shoke.
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 Shoak, yeah.
Okay. Like, oh, hey, Shoke, how you doing? And start walking towards him.
Yeah,
you
it's,
know,
I mean, it's your uncle. You not only did he he certainly was around the entire time, you know, while you were being raised. He didn't raise you directly because your father died a little bit. You were already an adult at that point. But he kind of tried to help at least as much as he could. But he's also the one that really kind of trained you for combat. Your father at that point had fully lost the will to fight, so you never really learned to fight from him, but you learned from Shoke instead. Anyways, in seeing you though, his arms kind of go wide and kind of prepare, you know, like he's gonna closing the gap to hug you, and then he kind of slows and then he brings his arms down. Norok, I need to tell you something. Well, go ahead, Sarah.
I am using Halfling Naturally Stealthy to use Norok to hide directly behind him, so the other guy doesn't know I'm there.
Ooh, that's intended for a still target, not two targets that are moving towards each other. I'd say that's going to be a long shot. Yeah, that's going to be a long shot to be able to pull that off. Like because they're moving towards each other, so it's not even matching step. Okay, Fox.
If I'm on the broom, could I like hide behind his torso?
That's a better shot, a little bit. Now
I'm gonna ready Vicious Mockery in case he tries to attack Norak.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got Firebolt ready.
Okay. All right. Sarah, give me a stealth check with disadvantage, and it's going to be a pretty high DC.
Disadvantage is control.
Yeah, I think so. You guys want to take a quick break while Fox is
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
But there's no natural 20 that I don't get.
Yeah, you dropped the natural 20. All right, quick break, guys.
Sorry.
Did somebody just drop a glass?
Someone rolled
not
a
us.
1 making tea.
Yeah, exactly. I actually need a drink anyways. I can bring any water in with me. Be right back, guys. I'm back.
Okay.
Yo.
Oh, too soon. Yo. Had a terrible day at work today. Just
Any
the more I
specific
do
ones?
this job.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you an example. So, client, like 3 weeks ago, bought a new TV, had it delivered, added on the $49 to mount it on his wall. Technician came out, or they got the TV delivered. Technician came out, and for some reason or another said they were going to have to reschedule the mounting. I don't remember why, but basically the tech was like, okay, we're going to have to reschedule, but here's my card. Just give me a call tomorrow if you don't hear from me, and we'll figure it out. Went, a day or two, didn't get a call. He called the agent back, left a voicemail, nothing. Like the next day, he had his friend do it to get it up on the wall. And then the next day or 2 days later, he called to get that $49 refunded. Mm-hmm. Can't do it. So basically, our systems are so fucked. Yeah, because that service is in transit because the order wasn't closed out right by the first agent. It's just it's just broken. Like there aren't any SKUs on the first order. So because it's in transit, you can't do anything with it. I spent an hour and 20 minutes trying to figure it out just to end up being like, yeah, there's nothing we can do. You can escalate it to, I escalated like 3 different departments, and not even like the supervisor of 120 of us remote agents had couldn't figure it out. And what bugs me is, here's the problem that bugs me. No one knew whether or not it was resolvable, and everyone had different answers on how to fix it. That means no one, and I'm talking about like all my peers, no one actually knows how to fix a lot of these issues that happen. Like they're just like, do this. And then I'm like, okay. And then it doesn't do anything. They're like, okay. And then someone else is like, have you tried this? And you do that. It's like, nah, it doesn't work either. Okay. Yeah. Like the supervisors still don't know. It's like, bro, like, I hate that no one knows how to do this. Like, it makes me feel like no one's going to ever be like, hey, you're not doing your job right, because they'll never know that I'm not doing my job right.
Oh, true. Yeah. I mean, if they don't even know how to fix that kind of stuff, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. No,
I legit feel like the logistics of these systems are absolutely going to be the downfall of Best Buy at this point. Like, there's no way that Amazon, when you call up Amazon, you're like, hey, this doesn't work, and they like troubleshoot for 5 minutes. They're like, okay. And then like somehow magically it's just, that's it. It's solved. They'll send a thing to your house. It's done. You get another one, whatever. Like, it's immediate.
You'd think, though, that literally just giving the guy, for one thing, like spending that long on it.
Yeah, if it was cost $50 today.
Yeah, but I'm not going to spend an hour and a half on the phone with somebody just to get $50 back. I'll just go, next time I'm at the store, I'll yell it to somebody and they can give me a gift card or whatever, you know what I mean? Not yell, but you know what I mean? Like, there's just no way I would invest that kind of time for that.
It was just so
dumb.
Nuts. Well, they were on the phone. I told them I was going to call them back.
Oh, okay.
So like another one where this lady had 4 appointments in the last year to fix her fridge, and every time they quote unquote fix it, and then the same problem happens like a month and a half later, 2 months later. Basically, the fridge itself is having that problem where it's like overfrosts around the condenser or whatever it is. The condenser coils get like frosted, and then it just shuts down because it like trips the sensor. And then you have to basically unplug it, take everything out, use a hairdryer to defrost it manually.
Yeah.
Then plug it back in, put it back in. And the thing is, though, it's not supposed to do that. And so the people keep ordering new parts for it. And like, bro, like, let's just get her a new fucking fridge. Like, this is insane. And the problem here is, since those are third party, none of the third party orders are lining up with our systems correctly. So there's like, she's been told by other people, like, yeah, we're going to put in a thing to get it replaced. Mm-hmm. But it never happens. Like, it doesn't go on our side. So because I can't do it, like, I have to wait till third party sends an escalation email to our department that's specific for the junk outs on a product, and then they approve it based off the third party notes, which we have no access to. And then once it's approved, then they contact us to be able to, actually they call the client and tell the client to then call us to actually swap out the fridge. The problem is, if any of those 17 points fail, then the client doesn't get shit. And I deal with it every day. Oh, by the way, do not ever buy Samsung appliances. None of you. None of you buy Samsung.
Anyways, no.
Oh, they're fucking hot garbage, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard anything good about them. Even, like their fridges, numerous times I've heard problems with their fridges, specifically the what are they? The
ice machines
infotainment
go
display,
back
whatever
all
it
the
is.
time too.
Oh, not just that. The ice machine stuff, you can get like parts for ice machines and things like that. That's fine. It's the screen thing.
10 days or 10 years ago.
Did it really? But the screen thing, like the stupid screens that they put in their fridges now, those things break constantly, apparently.
Smart fridge.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Well, no, don't buy Samsung dishwashers or stoves or microwaves.
Yeah.
Because I deal every single day. 75% of the appliances I deal with are Samsungs, which is a really big chunk.
Considering that there's 30 manufacturers.
Yeah. Whirlpool's fucking weird too. They make you go through Whirlpool for the first year, and they just have a weird system. Mm-hmm. But fuck Samsung, man. Oof. TVs are cool, but
the TVs are fine. Their phones were. I don't like the. I've had Samsung phones for a long time, but I don't like the G20s. Like I still have my Galaxy S10, my S10 is still great. I gave the S8 was great.
S8.
Yeah, the S8 was still great. Like that never had any problems, but the S20 does not look. I don't like it at all, and the problems that I've seen with it are not worth it.
Really, I haven't had any problems with mine.
Well, that's good because I'm eventually going to have to, presumably I'll eventually have to go from the S10 to the S20 or 21 or 22, whatever, whenever I'm like actually decide to upgrade. But so far I just haven't done it. Like I actually could have upgraded a while ago. I just really no reason to because I don't like anything about it. But they keep kind of trying to force the adware garbage, all of the. What is it? The One UI, I think it is the Samsung One UI. That thing's fucking trash, and all of the newer ones. I hate one thing that I hate about the S10 is the punch, like the punch hole. Is that what the S20 still has a punch hole, right? Where the camera's in the front, in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
No, it's over.
Well, I mean, it's in the corner, but it's in the screen. Yeah, it's a fucking punch hole, like a hole punch in the middle of the corner, and there's no notification LED. Just fucking ridiculously stupid backward steps as far as design goes.
See, now Ben has some trouble with his, but mostly with the Amazon Music app.
I haven't tried to use the Prime Music app. I have it because of no wait no I tried it and didn't like it and I switched back because I still have that's because I have the Google one for free because I pay for YouTube Premium. So I tried the Amazon one and didn't like it and I switched back. So no surprise there, I guess, that Ben doesn't like it either.
Yeah, well, we got a free subscription from my brother for Christmas because he got it and you can add like 6 family members to it.
Yeah.
And I like it. And it works fine on my phone, but for some reason on Ben's, he has terrible trouble with it. Like
What's it do?
Goes to the next song, and it goes all the way back to the very beginning of the playlist.
Nice.
Super weird.
That would be extremely irritating. All right, Fox is back too. All right, then we'll go ahead and resume here. So where we left off, Norok's uncle Shok was approaching. Arteme has clocked that he does not appear to have a heartbeat. He slows down as he's approaching. He had his arms wide, ready to embrace Norok in a hug. Norok, again, just to kind of remind you of the situation. When you ran back down the hill after seeing smoke in the distance and being able to tell obviously that the Antaros tribe was under attack, you ran down the hill and not long, basically almost as soon as you arrived there, you saw Shok fighting some of the Black Iron slavers, that the guys that captured you guys at the beginning, trying to fight them off. He fought off one. You were fighting next to him for a moment, and then he kind of spun to kind of help you with something, and you saw a crossbow bolt snap through the back of his head and through his eye while he was looking at you. Like you literally saw this happen in front of you, not far away, and then saw him collapse into the dirt, clearly dead. So anyways, he's approaching you. You can see that there is a hole where his left eye should be, where the crossbow bolt would have gone through. The eye is gone, and it's basically kind of a black pit. His skin looks a little bit sallow, and almost like a Nazim, oddly enough, which is funny actually because I hadn't even thought of this. This was before Sako. I had all this stuff kind of prepared before Sako joined, so a little bit Sako or a little bit Nazimish. But anyways, kind of arms wide like he's about to give you a hug, and then he kind of slows down and he kind of slowly lowers his arms. Norak, I'm very much happy to see you, but I need to warn you something first. I mean, you remember what happened back at the tribe, right? With the Antaros?
Yeah, for sure. So some questions for sure.
I bet. Well, let's at least join the festivities, and I'll answer as best I can.
All right, I'll go with him, but I'm not going to get too close. So.
Sure. Give me, if you want to, anyways. If you want to kind of assess if he's telling the truth or not, you can make an insight check if you want.
Yeah.
Does he seem to notice me hiding behind Nora?
Oh, he for sure saw you. Yeah. You got a 16. He absolutely saw you. What's with the shock of hair? Did you start growing some red hair on your back there, Norok?
Yeah, pretty much. I usually have one, small thing attached to me at least at all times.
Hey,
He kind of tilts his head to one side. You can come out, miss. It's okay. I know we get kind of a reputation, but we usually don't eat your people.
Well, that's good to know. I will.
Did you ask him if he eats us?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Norok, it's him. Yeah, he's speaking like himself. He's acting like himself. He may be a little less gruff. The last time that you saw him, you'd actually just been sparring with him before you went up the mountain in the first place, and then came back down. And he had said some not so nice words to you before you went up. But he seems maybe a little bit less gruff. But it definitely seems like him. He does not appear to have a heartbeat.
If the rest of the group is staying a little bit of ways, I will go back to the rest of the group, but I'm going to have Noctua sit on Norok's shoulder.
Okay.
The shoulder closest to his uncle.
All right. You spin around with the broom and start kind of returning to the rest of the group, sending Noctua over. He kind of tilts his head up and looks at the owl, and then back at you. What's with the owl?
Sorry, she's mine. She likes to perch on tall stuff.
You've acquired some strange friends, Norok.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, I imagine you have questions.
Yeah, how are you walking?
That part, I don't know if I can give you a truly satisfactory answer, but the fight for what occurred there, it went about as well as you saw. Something hit me from behind and it went dark, and then some things we can probably discuss later. And he kind of looks at the owl, and then I woke back up and most of the men were gone, either bodies on the ground or taken, as I assume you were.
All right. Yeah. Everybody was taken? There doesn't seem to be... You're the only one here. Why is there no more of our people at the festival today?
We couldn't spare any.
Still...
All of our best warriors, those that we still had anyways, were either captured, like you, or they were killed.
Oh, Norok, you're gonna have to impregnate all the women.
I don't know.
Because it rebuilds.
You can help me, but they're gonna be...
Can't take that long. I'd throw in a hot dog down a hallway if I try to do that.
Oh, I can't.
He kind of shrugs a little bit at Norok. Are you guys close enough to actually talk then? Are you walking near enough, to be able to be part of the conversation? Because I assume that
if I saw that, yeah, I was gonna say if it seems like it, I would have probably just walked up and dropped my Drop my vicious mockery, letting us, and then, but it would have been after a few extra seconds of them communicating.
Sure. He's there. It's kind of a slow walk down the hill, with back down the slope towards the rest of the two kind of major encampments. Then Pogo, you're able to overhear this, then if you're near enough too. But he says, there weren't any warriors left, but I couldn't leave the Antaros out of the melee completely. I mean, the fray is tradition, and we at least have to try to participate. And more important than that, and this is maybe useful news for you as well, because it seems you've been gone for as long as I have, at least, or longer than I have, rather. I know we don't have really any chance, of course, but the Antaros just likely won't survive the winter at all if we try to hold camp at the Holler.
Oh, yeah, well, the two of us together do as best as we can. Can we have
How does this work? How does this whole thing? Yeah, how does this work down here?
stack the little ones on top of each other? They might equal one big one.
He kind of chuckles a little bit. He chuckles a little bit. He says, well, I mean, we decide who are Yogg and who are not, who are members of the Antaros. So, if we choose to, if you're willing to join the fray with me, anyways, it'd be as fun as we can make it, anyways, but certainly an honor. And if your little friends are willing to join as well, then we can at least pick a couple of them.
Is there like a children's league, maybe?
He says, but something you need to know, though, the white frost that feeds has returned to its lair, and we certainly lack the strength to repel it. If we can win the fray, I can bring the Antaros down to settle on the plains for the winter, and at least buy us some time. I'm going to share you guys an image here. Norok, you know what that is, of course. The rest of you just hear him say that. But Norok, it is an ancient white dragon that lives in the mountains up in elevation. The problem is that when it arrives, usually the Yogg and the giants that live up in the mountains there kind of ally together, and they kind of push make the dragon leave, essentially, to roost elsewhere for the winter. But the giants are pushed out of there's not enough of them left either, that most of them are killed by the hunger, as you all know. But the Yogg are kind of putting pressure, or the giants rather are putting pressure on the Yogg, kind of displacing them, and then the Yogg are down here without little room to kind of make space for themselves. Hence the importance of maybe winning the melee. Go ahead.
If Sarah would have heard that, she would have asked what the white frost that feeds is.
Sho kind of looks at Norok.
Well, you guys would know it as a dragon. Very old, very strong.
Oh, seriously?
And very mean.
Maybe.
And you guys,
we should help you guys with this thing to get you out of there. I don't think I want to fight a white dragon.
I mean, is this a normal thing? It just comes and goes, and it comes, and you guys fight it, and then it leaves, and it comes back.
Every few years, yeah, he flies back in whatever winter he decides, and tries to stay here. We've tried to kind of live it out in the past, and just try to avoid him as much as possible. But we occasionally need to eat also, and he steals the food that we need and makes it hard on the giants. The giants then push on us, so on and so forth. So usually, yes, we would just the giants and the Yogg would get together and kind of force it out.
What about trying to talk to it and negotiate?
What about all these other people and things down here? It doesn't bother none of them?
They have their own problems. They're down here. They're not up in the mountains.
All right. Sorry, I wasn't familiar with the geographic areas of where everyone lived.
So essentially,
my bad.
if you guys win this thing, you don't have to deal with the dragon.
I mean, generally during the winter, at the very least, if we win the melee, which the Yogg, to be fair, the Yogg never win. It's a little bit of a joke, considering that we could easily obliterate these other tribes. The problem is, typically, these are not done to the death, and hence our people always kind of pull our punches a little bit, and we end up losing the melee. But anyway, as far as if we could for some means of winning this thing, and I can bring the Antaros down here, then we don't need to deal with it, and maybe the white frost that feeds will have left its roost enough that we can return home in the spring.
Well, we've been told on multiple occasions that we have Willow's luck, so maybe this is your lucky year.
He gives kind of a weak shrug. He says, I mean, if you guys want to participate, I mean, you can be honorary Antaros. The tribe is small enough as it is. We could certainly afford new members for fun. He looks back at Norok. He says, I know you've never taken part in the fray, but your father and I brought you here a few times when you were younger, before he lost his will to fight. Do you remember how the Zenithil fray goes?
I do not. Too much adventuring. It's made me forget the past. So,
well, then for this, you were pretty young, anyways. Then last time you'd been here, but he says, well, then for the benefit of your small friends here, every year on the last day of autumn, which of course was yesterday, all of the tribes across the plains gather here. The centaurs, the hillfolk, the orcs, the gnolls, the elves, the yogg, all of us. All the bickering and warring is halted, and we eat and drink and celebrate the wins and mourn the losses of the year, the last year together. And of course, with your typical tardiness, Norok, which is the norm for you, you've missed out on all the revelry. So what little there was to be had, anyways, was ended last night. But the black that ate the skies, and that's the Yogg name for the hunger, is the black that ate the skies, wiped out most of our tribes on the plains, or weakened them enough that they couldn't afford to send their warriors to this year's fray. It's the same as it had weakened our tribe so much that the dishonorable slavers were able to capture or kill what warriors we had left, like you. The Embers elves, the redhead hillfolk, the Ynog trolls haven't come at all, which is a shame too, because I was looking forward to the melee with the Reghead chief Bison. But with the deaths to the black that ate the skies, the high chiefs held a summit last night during the feasting. They've all agreed that the battle will not be to the death in the fray today, so just subduing, no killing. But the chiefs have chosen their best warriors, or at least the ones that were sober enough to fight. And at the sun's zenith, we will enter the fray to see which tribe earns the right to settle the best lands on the plains for the winter.
Is there a max amount of people you can have fight?
It's 4.
Is this like a rumble? Is this just that we're all going to go into like a pit and then everyone at once, one time?
Yeah, we all go into a pit and we beat each other up until no one's left standing, and whoever's
that sounds like a great way to just get completely crushed.
He kind of shrugs. I mean, that's kind of the way of thinking. I guess.
Well, if there's only 4 of us that can go in, some of us are going to have to sit out.
Well, I have to go, so that means
the last
then
1, 2, 3, not it.
two of you small folk can go in then.
Wait,
see the older one there.
We're all small folk compared to them.
I'm like small.
He meant he was referring to all of you, including Nazim and Arteme. He clearly did not just mean the family.
Yeah, maybe we. What's it like if I like kind of hang out from the background and just kind of yell rude, obnoxious things to throw people off? Is that are we allowed to do that? We can is that looked frowned upon? Is it like a golf game where we have to be quiet? Is it, or can I just yell?
Oh, it's there's always a certain amount of raucous revelry in the crowd. That's fine. As for if you can. What's the word I'm looking for? This is Jeremy looking for the word, not
sure.
Fucking lack of sleep and not enough preparation. I'm struggling with it. Interfere. You can't interfere.
Are you allowed to use magic?
I mean, the shamans typically do, sure.
Great, I'll join.
Oh,
he gives a little bit of a suspicious squint. Are you sure?
Yep.
Have you seen a centaur?
We fought some Miatao, so we're good. And I kind of owe these guys after the last thing we went through.
If you ride on its back, it probably can't get you.
Or I could just turn it into something super small.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah, no. But if it gets hurt, I think it turns his back. I remember.
True, but if it's something small enough that I can just pick up and not let it get hurt.
What'd you say, Sako?
No.
You said you need a pair of pants?
If it were to wear pants, how would it wear it?
So are there any other rules besides being knocked out? Like if you get just tossed out of the circle like 100 feet? Anything like that?
It's the arena's pretty. I mean, you could see it from now or by now, and it's probably 120 feet. Like it's a quite large pit with tons and tons of like big boulders in the middle of it.
But I mean, what if you like turned it into? You could turn it into like like a mouse. And I've done this before. You can chuck a mouse a solid 100 feet. Just fucking throw it. That'd be hilarious.
Well, I'm not going to tell you my exact plan, but if I can take it outside without leaving,
do you think the DM would use it against you?
I have no doubt. I love to ruin your plans.
I generally don't try to actually ruin your guys' plans.
No, but I do try to ruin yours. So
that's kind of how the game's supposed to go.
So
I don't know. Are you?
I get it out without myself going out, then we're good.
There really isn't any. The pit is a. How do I say this? It's just a means of keeping them in and not accidentally, hitting somebody in the crowd. It's really not a boundary. It's not a kick anybody out.
So if they're out, they can come back in.
I mean, it might take them a minute, sure, but if they
When
crawl
does
back
this
in,
whole
they'd
thing
still be.
start?
We've got. He looks up at the sky. 2.5 hours.
Who usually wins out of all those, the orcs and the gnolls and everyone? Who usually wins in this thing?
As much as it's I would say a shame, but honestly, they're strong enough fighters. Usually, the elves win. They have a lot of trickery about them. Their means of controlling the earth. Although the centaurs are similarly capable in that regard. The orcs are usually along in the lines of us, which is funny because typically the Antaros and the Ahiga, who are the orcs, our two tribes are the ones most militia-like. The ones usually are the ones repelling any of the Empire's constant expansion attempts, preventing them from taking our lands from us. But as far as in the melee, I think it's just that we know it's not to the death, and therefore we don't really put our all in.
All right, so we should probably figure out who's going to be our fourth.
I can.
I'll Rochambeau. Oh, you're good. You're doing it. Who's stronger? Who's stronger? You or Nazim? Like, which one is better in this kind of fray? What do you think?
Not really sure what to say to that one.
I'm sure we can
All right.
get damaged.
That's okay. That's fine. On a totally unrelated note, do you have any poison?
Oh, right.
Oh,
I'm giving you the 2 doses of hallucinogen.
Oh, that's perfect.
I need to point out something real quick that probably would have been noticed already. Nazim, this is only for you. There is a column of smoke far off in the distance to the northwest that keeps constantly drawing your attention. Something about it keeps kind of making you look off in the distance. To everybody else, the rest of the group, you may or may not notice that Nazim's eyes keep getting kind of drawn off to this column of smoke. To all of you, it would look just like kind of the way that there's a column of smoke rising from this camp that you guys are walking towards right now. Like a campfire or something like that. Maybe there's a settlement of some sort in the distance. But Nazim, something about it is very attractive to you as far as the kind of the inability to be able to look constantly in that direction and just kind of check on it. The smoke
tranced, but
a little bit, yeah. There's definitely something kind of drawing you in that direction. It's far away. It's many miles away. It's not within within regular walking distance. Let's say, at least not right now. But nobody else seems to. It just seems normal to you, except for just the kind of standard oddity that is Nazim.
Okay. I'll probably just make a quick mention of it if everyone's starting to notice me looking out towards the horizon. Okay. I'll probably just let the group know, hey, when we finish up with whatever we're going to be doing here, do you mind if we take a quick journey in that direction? Something's telling me to go over here.
How far away is that?
Arteme, are you looking? Arteme would probably be the only. Yeah. It would probably take you 3-4 hours to be able to get there.
Is that the
Okay,
direction that we need to go?
No, it's northwest. You guys need to go northeast to get to the Antaros.
Do you mind taking
maybe
a quick shortcut?
maybe we can check it out.
It's fine. As long as we
You don't have to come if you don't want, but I wouldn't mind.
I might go with you, but do you want to? I was actually wondering, Nazim, when we start walking towards the fight, do you want to help me out with something?
If I can, yeah.
Cool. We'll talk about it later. It's nothing major.
I actually.
We're gonna do drugs.
You definitely that's the last thing Nazim needs is the bath salts version of peeling faces off.
I actually have a question
Beryllium dust.
Sure.
for Nazim as well. Do you still have that ring of healing surges?
A ring of healing surges. Looks like it is.
You have it. It's not attuned. You unattuned
Yeah,
it
it's
to
not
put on
attuned.
your staff, I think.
Never mind then. Then since we have 2 hours, I would like to take a short rest to get my 3 hit points back because you never know if I'm
Sure.
going to need them.
Sure.
I seem to
So I would like to pull Nazim to the side, away from the rest of the group. All right, I've got an idea. Since the elves usually win this thing, what if we go invisible, or at least one of us goes invisible? We go invisible. You can do that, right? Can you do that?
I don't think I can go invisible.
All right. Well, I can make us both invisible. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to where their camp is, sneakily like, and maybe you cause some sort of. No. Yeah, well, maybe if we have time. But you cause like a little distraction, and I'm gonna look for the people who are actually their fighters, and I'm gonna slip these mushrooms into their drinks, and that'll maybe give us a bit of an advantage.
I'm all in for this.
All right.
Action needed.
So I'd probably start heading off there. If no one, I'd like to look around, see if anyone is like really keeping an eye on us, and then I'm going to if it looks like it's like, are we far enough away to where it doesn't look like anyone's really watching us?
Nobody seems to be paying much attention.
Like
yeah, I mean,
walk around like a stone.
Ihigo, the orc tribe and the centaur tribe are the only two like groups that you guys see, and they're kind of, there's a middle part where they're kind of intermingled, and everybody seems to be kind of enjoying themselves. Nobody is like paying too much attention to you guys.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead. So we're gonna hold hands while we walk. Okay. When we get close. So we don't know where each other is, but when we get close, I'm just gonna need you to, maybe go make a distraction, maybe knock over a tent pole or something. And when you get their attention, be careful because you're still gonna make footprints and things. But I don't make any sound when I walk. So you do that, and I'm gonna try to slip these into their drinks. All right.
Not a problem.
All right. So I'm gonna cast invisibility.
All right. We'll come to your guys' little subterfuge event here in just a moment. Then Pogo and Nazim are heading off to go do that. The plan then? Holding hands. Yes. Arteme and Sarah are going to go with Shok and Norok.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then, in the meantime, Norok, as you guys have kind of made it back to Shok's little kind of encampment, he kind of sits down by the fire and he pulls out his axe and he starts kind of drawing a whetstone over the edge of it. So, where have you been? Who are your friends? What all happened to you?
Well, caught by the slavers. Met some of my new friends there. And been on pretty much an adventure ever since then, trying to stop the Vabi from their conquest, which I'm sure you obviously know about since they came here too. So. And getting in trouble along the way and getting sidetracked.
It's funny you mentioned Vabi. And he kind of leans, like he kind of, moving his axe forward. He leans, moving to the edge of the stump that he's sitting on. And he kind of whispers to, not whispers, but somewhat quietly to Norok, how much do you trust your friends?
Well,
can I speak openly?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it all. I'm assuming I know what happened to you and why you're still moving around. I just, wanted to know for sure. Do you know who it is that's animating you? That's how it works, right? Like a necromancer would animate the individual people, or...
I mean, it's
it was just brought back
strange
to life.
To me.
So.
It's strange. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had the answers, and that's kind of hoping that with your travels or maybe your friends, if you trust them well enough to ask, maybe they would know. But all I know is that things went dark. Something hit me from behind. Things went dark. I mean, I felt the ground. I felt blood pouring out of my eye, and then I was gone, and where I expected that somebody, one of Crow's Reapers, something would be taking me out to Crow's Thicket, or if I was worthy enough to the Falkfang itself. Instead, I was met by, when I opened what was both of my eyes, I was surprised enough by that, but opened both of my eyes and looked up, and there was just this kind of small, normal-looking person. I mean, he was cowled. He had a hood pulled up over his features. I couldn't see his face. He was hidden in shadow, but just standing there holding this gargantuan staff. And he told me that there was things he still needed, and he told me he was sending me back, and then I woke up.
Sorry, I'm not there. I'm just excited.
Yeah, was not there.
Can we hear this? The rest of us that are there.
He's saying
I love Becky with a mouthful of food.
too important of a question.
Yeah.
Has to be asked now. So he asked specifically, and Norok said that he trusted you guys. So he's saying this very quietly. But if both Arteme and or either of Arteme or Sarah would be listening to this kind of private conversation between Norok and Shok, then yes, you would be able to overhear it. He's not trying to hide it. He's just keeping it quiet.
Yeah, then
Is this something you've ever heard of, Norok? In your travels? Anything you learned?
I need a ride.
Did you logo or you mentioned, anybody mentioned that out
Oh,
loud?
well, we were-
to me, to Nora.
we were all drinking together, so Sarah probably
Yes.
would have spoke up and been like, so one of our friends went through something similar.
Yeah.
And I have something that I can do that'll let me know if it is exactly the same. Would you mind if I do it? It's not gonna hurt. It's gonna take like 10 minutes. I just need to cast a spell to see something.
He squints like really suspiciously. He looks back at Norok.
With the one eye.
With the one eye, yeah, exactly.
He actually winks at you.
I said squint, not blink. Or wink. But he looks back at Norok. You're sure you trust her, right?
Oh, yeah.
If she bedevils me some way, or if I fall, our tribe is doomed. Worse than we are already.
Well, she's saved my life more than once, so she's okay with keeping your dogs alive. Her magic is just maybe not exactly like our shamans, but if they were to cast something on you, you can trust them. So.
He looks over to Sarah. What do you need of me then, halfling?
I just need you to sit still for 10 minutes. That's it.
Can I still sharpen my axe?
Yep. You're good to go.
He's wearing gloves, but there is a slight kind of trembling to them. And in fact, actually, he takes his gloves off and kind of sets them down next to him. And you notice, all three of you that are sitting there, Arteme as well, Fox just went AFK for a second, but all three of you notice that his fingertips are really, really dark. They're like near black, where blood is clearly pooled in the fingertips since the heart is not beating any further. And it kind of, he's obviously like self-conscious about this. Like it's clear that he's doing this on purpose. But he kind of just, kind of slowly starts resuming the sharpening the axe.
Right. And I'm going to ritually cast Identify.
Okay.
And see if it pops up the same as Pogo.
You do, and while there are thin threads of Corvalane surrounding him, it is not coming from him. It's rather like how do I describe this? There's little kind of threads here and there that are lifting off of him, whereas Pogo seems to be able to more of it is coming off of Pogo, a lot more of it.
So, he can't actually use the magic, it's just...
That's exactly the impression you get, yeah. That's exactly the impression you get. That is that he was animated by it, and there's still bits of it that are kind of connected to him, but he doesn't have the ability to channel it like Pogo can.
Alright. I will let him know that it is similar to what a friend of ours went through, but different because he's not able to use the magic. It's just what brought him back.
This friend of yours is able to use it, though?
Well, I mean, he was able to use magic in the first place, so...
I see.
It was just kind of an addition to the magic he already had.
For what you
whatever
know, for what you've been able to tell, am I just going to stay this way? Is it going to stop? Am I not going to wake up tomorrow? Is there any way to know?
We don't know a lot about it. Honestly, it should be a dead magic. This magic shouldn't even be able to be accessed anymore.
Is that a joke?
No,
A
I
dead
did
magic?
not mean that in an offensive way
Any
at all.
any other day, I would laugh.
Sorry. This magic shouldn't be able to be accessed anymore. But for whatever reason, in the last, however long you came back, you would be before our friend, it's showing back up. And it's not necessarily a good thing, but we don't really know if it's a bad thing either. There's little known about it.
I wouldn't say it's comforting, but at least I know more than I did.
Wait, do we have any accounts of what Crow looks like?
He is represented in...
Right?
Yeah, it's definitely not Lord Crow. No, Lord Crow takes many different forms, and let's see. Here's the thing: Ketis and Nivara met Lord Crow, and therefore some of that information would have been downloaded to everybody through the Vast Erudition. So you would all have an idea, and Peter actually, although Nazim isn't Peter, of course, but. They met Crow on a couple of occasions, as well as some of his Reapers, like Ophelia. So, like, anyways, there is general knowledge that he can take essentially any form he chooses, but frequently he's like a hunched-over old hermit, like a human size, a little bit smaller old hermit. No giant staff, not an imposing human figure. So it doesn't quite match the features.
And the figure, as far as we're aware, is male. Correct? It seems
both
male?
the speaking that Pogo heard as well as Shok both sounded male. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Then you guys can continue that discussion here in a minute if you'd like. But let's jump over to Pogo and Nazim trying to infiltrate these camps and poison people, trying to literally spike people with drugs, which is illegal in every country.
It's for science.
I'm sure Pogo's done enough drugs to know these aren't going to kill anybody. It's just going to make for an interesting show.
Okay, Bill Cosby, let's go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right.
So you know the plan, right? You know the plan. When we get kind of close, we're going to split up, and you're going to go cause some sort of little ruckus. And all right.
How many are there?
Yeah. What do we see?
So the trolls. So the orc camp that you guys kind of make your way into, which is the closer of the two, to begin with, trying to very carefully dodge elbows because people are dancing and kind of just drinking and having fun and so on, and occasionally tip over and fall into bumping somebody and so on. So you're just trying to be careful not to make yourselves known. But you make your way into the orc camp. There's only, you'd guess, probably 25, maybe 30 total orcs, and most of them are kind of gathered around a little central part of their little camp, it seems.
Is it obvious which ones might be fighting?
Well,
I thought we were going after the elves. Was it the orcs that were the bigger threat, or the elves?
there are no elves here. There's only two. So
okay.
normally there are 6 major tribes here. The Imletherus elves, who are not here at all.
Okay.
The Reghead Hillfolk, who are not here. The Unog troll, or gnolls rather. Sorry, not trolls. They're not here. It's basically the Enola centaurs and the Ahiga orcs are the only 2 other tribes here.
Yeah. All right. So the orcs are our biggest threat. Yeah.
So in through the orc camp, though, there aren't a ton of them, but they are kind of gathered around a middle part. Most of them kind of, raising mugs in the air and drinking and kind of pushing each other around and not play fighting. What's the word? Like punching and stuff like that.
Around.
Yeah, messing around. Like kind of
Just orking around, guys.
Orking around.
Just orking around. Yeah.
But kind of like in a somewhat dense circle around the middle, so you kind of have to very carefully push your way through, not touching anybody until you make it to the middle. In the middle, you see a very large, very old orc. who is kneeled down not cross-legged, but just like sitting on his knees, like almost like a praying posture. Who has this very large claw on one hand, like a fist claw, like he's holding on to these two long blades, and he's just kind of dragging a whetstone across them. And there's another orc woman that's standing behind him who's braiding his hair back, and there are a couple of other orcs sitting nearby that are kind of close by him. Also, they're with an axe and a sword, and then another with a tall spear, with little fetishes hanging off it, it looks probably like the shaman. And you'd guess based on their position, and there seem to be the only ones who are like relatively calm. You're guessing these probably are the four.
Does it look like there's a? By the way, on the walk there, I was kind of like taking the kind of best I can, just breaking them up into the smallest pieces and kind of like rub them through my hands to make them almost as much of a powder as possible for these mushrooms.
Okay.
Little bitty pieces if I can. Do they have like a water container that I can see, or ale or something that's like a shared?
There isn't. Yeah, not anything that the four of them, like they don't have mugs next to them or anything. But there is what looks like a giant barrel of grog.
Right. We're just gonna toss them in the barrel of grog. So I'm gonna go to the barrel of grog and wait for something to happen that catches everyone's attention away from the barrel of grog. So I want to make sure no one's looking at the barrel of grog when I do this.
Okay. Were you splitting it into? Are you putting your entire thing into like all of the mushroom you have into this one? Okay. All right. Then you drop them into the barrel, and you making your way back out of the group. Go ahead and give me I would say that nobody's even paying close enough attention. You don't need to worry about somebody noticing you. A little plop into the barrel of you dropping the crushed up mushrooms into it. But I would say that those aren't even stealth checks. Nobody's looking for you, and you're invisible anyways. This would be certainly below your passive to be able to kind of carefully walk into this and drop the mushrooms into it. Are you heading into the Centaur camp as well?
Nope. I was just gonna do it on one of the camps. Yep. I don't want to risk. I don't want to. Yeah,
That's funny. It's funny actually because there wasn't going to be too much risk for the orcs because there aren't that many of them, and they're less risk of you getting stepped on, I guess is how I'd say that. Walking through the centaurs. The centaur, I thought you were going to go to both, and the centaurs were going to be a real actual risk because there's way more of them, and they're running in circles. They're running in circles. So that would have been a much harder challenge. But all right, well then in that case, the costing
like a Faith No More concert in the '90s over there.
Yeah, I don't know where Nazim is. I don't know where Nazim is, but now that I've done this, no. I let go to wait till he was going to cause some sort of distraction. But if we didn't need it, then I'm just slowly making my way out of there, and then I'm going to go back to the group. I have no idea what Nazim's doing. He's still invisible for another 40 minutes.
All right, well,
I'm going to stay invisible, by the way, for the next 40 minutes. But
okay.
I'm gonna hang out. I will go next to the group and listen to them as they talk. But we've been gone for a while, I'm sure.
In that case, well, I mean, it didn't. You were right next to him. The Yogg that's just choked by himself, so you weren't very far. It probably only took you 5 minutes to walk in and walk back out. And by the time you get back, Sarah would have just finished the ritual, and therefore the last part of that conversation, Pogo was invisible and therefore able to hear at least that they have a friend, meaning you, who has had a similar magic forced upon him and so on. So Pogo would have heard bits of that. It's up to you if you wanted to identify yourself. But Nazim, you've been abandoned. You're still standing there invisible, outside of the little kind of orc encampment. You hear them chanting. The group is chanting, starting to at this point because they're kind of trying to cheerlead, I guess, for lack of a better term. They're shouting this over and over again. You gather this was probably the chieftain's name. All right, Justin. Is Nazim doing anything else? Or just going to wait there?
Well, I was going to cause a distraction, but since the deed is already done...
You don't know that. You don't know that the deed is done. You just know that you haven't heard anything from Pogo, and Pogo just left. You don't know anything. So...
Nice. All right. Well, then I will have a little fun with them then. They don't mind if I'm there, of course.
They don't seem to care that you're there. Yeah, they seem to be indifferent. People see you. They look at you occasionally, but nobody's really paying you much attention.
All right, I'm just going to make a small scene using a few of my spells here. First things first, raise off the ground 1 foot, so
Okay.
floating.
Okay.
Arms up in a grandiose manner to gather everyone's attention. And I will cast my 3 minor illusions, because I can do up to 3 small illusions. The 3 small illusions will be a dark smoke coming from behind me somewhere, small crackling fireworks around me, just to gather more attention. And strangely enough, lots and lots of small footprints just kind of running around underneath me, even though obviously I'm floating on the ground.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm just going to get everyone's attention as best as possible and make a major announcement for them, if I could.
Okay. You start all of this. You set off the fireworks. The kind of I think they're silent, right? They can't make noise, right?
That's actually, you're right. You can only do 3, so not the footprints. So
Okay. So the noise and the fireworks and the smoke. Okay.
Firework pops and then the
Okay.
smoke just
All right.
runs
The pops go off. Some of the kind of orcs rather that were kind of pushing against each other and stuff kind of stop for a moment and spin in your direction and look at you kind of suspiciously. What, are you some sort of gleeman?
I'm actually here to help in your upcoming battle.
Well, it kind of stands up straight, crosses his arms. Well, let's see it, Gleeman.
I have with me 1 magic piece of leather. The owner of this leather will have an amazing amount of power, strength, stamina, and speed for the upcoming battle. Normally, I sell this piece of leather for 1,000 gold. Is anyone available with 1,000 gold to purchase this?
You would expect us to take you at your word. Display. Show us what it can do. Maybe we're willing to buy, but you've at least got to display what this thing can do.
Well, better than that, I will offer a full discount for 1 magic piece of leather on 1 condition.
Oh, you amuse us, Gleeman. Here, come, join the circle.
All right. And
Show
when
us
I
your
gather in-
tricks.
Well, I'll just plop down on the ground, obviously, and do...
No, too late. One of the orc, the one that crossed his arms, kind of moves forward, puts a very large hand in the middle of your back, and kind of starts pushing you towards the middle of the group where the chief is. Vega. This conjurer would like to show you something. He says he's got some special leather.
I've come
along, conjurer.
All right. I've come for this with the special leather to help you for 1,000 gold or a feat of strength.
Well, we're all here for a feat of strength. Show us.
Oh no, you show me a feat of strength. The strongest will get this leather for free.
If you've got the next 2 hours, you can watch the feat of strength. The Ahiga are going to win it this time. Does that mean I also win your leather?
I'm a betting man, and I want to see who the strongest orc is. So bring your 3 strongest orcs and have them fight, not to the death, but just for strength. I want to see who the strongest orc is and who wins.
The one you expect is the chief, and kind of gives you a dismissive gesture, kind of what's the word? Like a pushing you away with his hand kind of gesture. We're already about to fight. We're not going to waste our strength on you. Have you nothing else to show us, conjurer?
You know, at this time, I'll probably assume that...
He floated out there. I saw him. He was floating. Show us that. Float for us, Gleeman.
Then I'll just go ahead and float up real quick and shoot off even bigger fireworks, flames, and just a whole bunch of chaos. Fire from my feet. Little enchantments here and there.
All right.
Illusions.
Consider us impressed, Gleeman. Now, what is this leather that you in trying to sell us here?
It's a magic piece of leather, and I pull out one of my shapeshifter skin pieces, a little small swath, and I just hold it up, and I say, anyone with 1,000 gold can buy this, or I want to see combat. The 3 best fighters fight amongst yourselves now, and you get this for free.
One of the orcs that you were kind of shoveled past kind of leans in, and he reaches his hand out and kind of doesn't pull it out of your hands, but he kind of grabs the edge of the other side of the leather and pulls it towards himself while you're still holding it and kind of looking at it. It just looks like skin. I don't think you see anything special.
Look closer. And then I'll use minor illusion, and just I'll have nothing but roaches and just insects come off of it and roll up his arm.
He kind of yanks his hand away, looking at his hand. Oh. And do they disappear? Or do you keeping them?
It just runs up his arm and disappear, yeah.
I don't feel them. You are a conjurer indeed. Come, show us, what does this leather do?
At this point, I'll tell them that they're not worthy of this, and I'll start making my way away.
The hell just happened?
One of the orc steps in front of you. No, come on, we want to see this. What you make bugs appear? You float? You make fireworks? I mean, our shamans can do all of that, but we'd like to see what this leather is you speak of. What does it do?
At this point, I'm just going to back away. Essentially, just telling them at this point.
Well, you're in the middle of the circle. You're surrounded.
Well, I can get out of that circle if I need to.
Well, what are you doing to get out of the circle then? Because they've got you surrounded and are like, they're not hostile, I guess, but they're wanting more evidence of what this leather is supposed to do. They seem intrigued.
Well, I don't want to cause them any damage or cause a fight, so I'll use a mask of many faces. Yeah, and I'll just essentially rub the leather on my face as if I'm just touching my face, and I'm going to change the way I look to something either hideous or just unappealing.
Okay.
And I'll take it off of my face, and then
as you do that, you hear a gasp, and the orcs kind of looking behind you, towards the middle of the circle, but behind you, and you turn to see what they're gasping at, and one of the orcs who was sitting down, the one who you guess is probably the shaman, has stood and is now wearing your face.
There you go.
Looking like the melted face Nazim. You're not the only one with such tricks, conjurer. Now the leather, what does it do? You trying to sell snake oil, or does it actually have some power?
I'll just pretty much back off and just say, you know what, we'll find out in just a little bit, in 2 hours. I'll make my way through.
We'll look for you on the battlefield. Then you make your way back out, back over towards Shok's camp, or where Shok is at then?
Just maybe that.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Another ruckus and just a little bit of conflict and confusion.
Yeah, that lasted quite a while. You gather that if it... Oh, I did have this thing too. I forgot to put him on here. You gather that if you needed to create a distraction, that probably would have sufficed. But, of course, unknowingly, Pogo's been gone for 10 minutes. Pogo's been gone almost that entire time. But you did, probably create enough distraction anyways if you had needed it. That was Shok there. I forgot to put him up on the VA earlier. But again, back at camp, Pogo, you did hear the, at least the latter half of that conversation about what Shok saw.
I'm going to wait... maybe 5 minutes, and then as Nazim is coming back, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my invisibility like I just got there.
Okay.
And just all right. Well, I think that was fun. I went and had a look around at the other camps, and everything seems seems all right. I think you guys have a pretty good chance.
As I approach everyone
where have you been?
I'll let them know that Vega is the person we need to kind of look for over there, and Vega is kind of their leader or possible threat.
Yeah, he's the Vega's the Ahiga chief.
Point him out to me.
And then I'll just
Which one is he?
if I can still see him, I'll just point in the direction and describe what they're wearing.
You can't see him. He's still kind of kneeled down. All of the even the one who took your appearance, who was clearly their shaman, they've all kind of set back down again. But the orcs are surrounding them in a circle, so you can't see any of them specifically. You can give them a description though.
All right, I'll just describe what they're wearing, what Vega's wearing, and his demeanor.
Okay.
All right. Is there anybody else we need to look out for?
Shok says, the Centaur chieftain, you might want to keep an eye out for him too, of the Enola.
We got any magic users?
Yes. Hang on one second. I'm going to type this up for you guys real quick.
I've got a DM question. Cutting words, since it's not magic and it's just a reaction, it's literally just me yelling stuff. Would that be considered interference?
Whether they would or not is the question. It's really, yes, it would be if they know that that's what's happening.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. But Shok tells you that the Enola, who are the Centaur tribe, their chieftain is Bolrog, and the Orc chief, you've got the Orc one was the one with the in the middle of the group there that looks old, the big one that's very old. As far as spellcasters, though, I mean the Enola are famed for that. They have very strong earth shamans amongst their group. I imagine they bring at least one.
Right.
And before you guys...
Not what?
Not the same one every time, so you can't, like, describe what he looks like?
I mean, as far as who they had last year, no, they're almost always new. Even Vega is the only person that's still here that I've recognized.
Alright.
By the way, before you go into this melee, I'll give you guys an inspiring speech to help you all out.
He kind of grins. I don't know how.
I might not be that big, but I can give a speech. I can still talk with my mouth.
His speeches are pretty impressive.
Give me that look.
If you say so. He's not a very impressive in stature, so maybe in voice.
Yeah, and
maybe the gods have given him other gifts.
I'm gonna do something that's gonna be super creepy, but don't worry, it's perfectly fine and normal for me, and I'm going to cast Shadow Skin.
Right now?
Oh, yep. Scares me. No, I don't think we're even
you're
going
still
in
like
yet.
an hour and a half. Yeah, hour
It
45
for
minutes.
8 hours. So.
Yeah, I know, but you're just going to do it now before you even go in? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So they think it's normal.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. Instead of trying to do it while you're there, it's totally fine to use. Like he's made it clear, anyways. It's fine to use magic while you're in there too. So they certainly will.
It also takes an action, so I'm preemptively.
Sure. Okay. That definitely is, especially considering the way of things these days. It's too reminiscent of the black that ate the skies, for that matter. It's a little bit spooky.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Voice change too. Interesting. And the easier friends. What an interesting companions you've made there, Norok.
Yeah, they're definitely a little bit different than the Plains people.
I love this music, by the way.
So what's funny actually is that it's literally Zulu drum. Drum something. It's African, but it's a Zulu traditional drum music of some sort. At least according to YouTube, anyways. That's what I was looking for. Anyways, as far as time though, we are at 8:15. Well, in regular time, not in made up future time like Fox. But we probably won't have time to actually start the melee. Let's see. Are you guys doing it? Because you still have about an hour and a half. So do you guys want to call it here, or do you have some stuff that you want to do before the beginning of the fight, and then we'll just start there next week?
Not really anything I want to do, because there's not really any prep.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm asking, is if you have anything specific that you'd be doing before, for at least for Arteme and Sarah and Norok.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Norok, any discussion with Shok that you need to have?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Then in that case, we can go ahead and call it here, guys. Let's see. Next week is the 15th. Justin, you couldn't do the 15th, right?
I cannot, but I can do that Friday or that